All right, how's that sound?
Wait 1 second.
Okay.
You sure this shit ain't echoing? Oh, so yes.
I'm not getting an echo from me. You getting one from me?
I'm making sure it doesn't. It's
Okay.
not echoing anywhere. Okay. Let's see. All right, let me go to the page now.
Okay. Alrighty. Alright, so we got the old patch notes here. And then... Okay, I should probably pull up the new ones, huh?
Yeah, I think I sent you one. Or you.
Yeah, you sent me the old one. Yeah. Are we gonna go with the old one first? And then we'll do the new?
Well, what we should do is probably like do it in sequence. Like for example, we talk about Shiva, old notes, and then you know, and
then the
then
new
compare
one.
the
Okay, I
old
get
Shiva with the new Shiva and stuff like that.
Okay, I get you.
That might be the best way to do it. All right, so.
Yeah. Alright. Yeah, cool.
Sure. Yeah, say something.
Hey, what's up? Is it sounding good? You hear me? Is everything okay? Can you hear me?
Like you saying stuff.
Okay. Just keep letting me know if anything sounds good or bad. I don't know if you can hear me on stream or not. I was like, I didn't realize how big these patch notes are though.
No, you sound good.
Good? Okay.
Yeah. Alright, hold on a second. Let me get this. Alright.
Yeah, no. Kind of crazy that we haven't had a patch for this game in 2 years up until now. Looking back.
Really? It's been 2 years, or be? Nah, bro. Last year we got patch. Remember?
Yeah, but this is the one from 2021. So I was just saying that in my mind. I was like, has it really been that long?
I know. It feels like
That's
it.
crazy.
Feels like it. All right, let me see something. That's the old one. Hold on. The patch came out in July?
Yeah, July 2021.
Damn. So, those videos I made, right, about the buffs and stuff they were going to give to these characters, they didn't actually implement them, right?
They didn't implement them until now.
Okay. Those are just stuff. Those are just stuff that Jordan said.
Yeah, and he finally went through with it.
Okay,
that's
because I could have sworn that they gave. My confusion was just that I could have sworn that those notes that I read was actual.
Were already in place.
Yeah. But no, those was just something that was coming.
Yeah, that was just the blueprint. Because trust me, I would have been all over this game so much quicker if those notes actually came in. That's why I'm playing.
That's true. Hold on. Let me see this. I think I'm trying to look through this right here. Yeah, these notes seem kind of old because I don't see any Estelle you see any Estelle or new characters on here? I don't see it. Probably you know what it was. I know what it was. I'm gonna have to do it this way. Jesus Christ, I didn't want to do it this way because from what I remember was Jordy said the notes, right? But no one ever put them together. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't put together. Like these notes that I sent you from 2001, those are the notes that were implemented. But oh yeah, that's true. Never mind. These are the notes, and the notes that I read that Jordy said, those are the ones that's actually implemented now, right? So there was no notes for Shiva beforehand. Shiva was just put in the game, and then he just wasn't touched after that. They didn't do nothing to him after that. Yo, you there, Eternal?
Hang on.
Oh yeah, you read it. Gotcha. I'm just trying to get.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. So like, what I was the when that old patch came out, because that was basically the DLC release. When the 3 DLC characters came out for Estelle, Shiva, and Max,
Yeah.
they didn't have any notes because they were the new character. We actually didn't get any like changes until now, 2 years later, when Jordy said all that stuff. That was basically the patch note, and then they finally put it in now.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So Shiva never had any
He never had any buffs or nerfs. He was just left like that for 2 years.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what it confused, because I'm thinking that the patch notes that we read, that I read, that I made a video for, there was notes before that of Shiva, but there wasn't. Shiva was just in the game, and the notes that I read was just notes that was coming, which is this patch.
Yup.
Got you. All right, so I guess this is a little bit easier because just got
yeah. Because what I'll do is when we start talking about those characters, those 3, I can say a few things about what they used to do, and then now what they actually do in comparison to see if it's better or not.
Yeah. So all right, so we could talk about the current characters now.
Mm-hmm.
Like not the DLC basically.
Yeah, we can just talk about like the base roster, because those guys got hit the most as well, I feel.
Hit in a bad way or good way?
Mostly good. I feel like most of the characters in here, they really benefited from a lot of the changes.
Mm-hmm.
Like I even did today I did a retro run with Blaze 1, Streets of Rage 1 version, Mania Plus, all the way through, no continue.
Arcade, you said arcade, right?
Yep, arcade. It felt good.
Axel Stone.
Yeah.
Alright, so let's talk about this guy, Axel. Where's this guy? Alright, give me a second.
Yeah.
Alright, give me a second. What's going on, people? It's your boy Wes, back at you another video today. I will be going over with a friend of mine from the Streets Rage community, Eternal. We're going to be going over in depth on the patch notes, the current patch notes, doing a little comparison between these patch notes and the patch notes which was down there a year and a half, 2 years ago, by our surprise. Because I know rather both of us know that a bunch of people don't know what's going on with the patch notes, understand them pretty much, how significant the changes are to certain characters. If certain characters didn't really get much buffs, they just got a little tweak, things like that. So yeah, so we're gonna go over these patch notes and go as detailed as we can to get people to understand, and that's really about it. So with that being said, let's get it cracking. So we're gonna go in order from Streets of Rage 4 to the DLC characters. So we're gonna start. We're gonna start with Axel 4 from Streets of Rage. Axel 4, Streets of Rage 4. Axel 4. So let's see this guy
All
right
right.
here. So let's go over what happened to this guy in the past. So last thing they said that the patch notes from before these patch notes, he had a longer jump. Star move has bigger damage and longer active frames. Air special has shorter recovery, bigger length, bigger damage, more active frames. Air kick combo does more damage. Combo does more damage. I guess it's combos in general. Blitz does more damage and ignores enemies' weight. Back attack has better wall bounce properties, which is good. Headbutt is invincible. Charge attacks wall bounce damage increase. Offensive special now inflicts small wall bounce damage. Combo now inflicts small wall bounce damage. So let me see something. Let's go to the current patch notes. Hold on, do I have those on me? Yeah, can you send me those? Or you want to read them? It's up to you. You can read them if you want.
Here, let me pull them up real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a second. Okay, this should be right here. You can still hear me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect, perfect. Okay. So scrolling down to the current patch that we all got now,
Yeah.
I'm gonna start with Axel here. So now his air down attack has a slightly bigger hitbox. That's the attack he does in the air when he jumps, and he does like this little knee.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty good combo starter. Dragon Crush. So this is one of, I believe this is one of his ult moves. I think it's his that's his defensive special. So it's this uppercut that he does, and before nobody would really use this uppercut because it was incredibly unsafe, didn't really lead to anything, and because you were left in the air, you were susceptible to getting anti-air very.
You talking about after you talking about his offensive special, right? Oh, this guy died. Yeah, you did, Eternal? Oh no.
Ooh, did it die?
Yeah, you died. You gotta go back to basically what are you talking about? Yeah, he's talking about the uppercut. No, what I was
Yeah.
asking you is you talking about
Mhm.
the ending of his offensive special?
Not the ending of his offensive, because I believe
Oh,
this is
you talking
it's
about
his defensive one.
his defensive
Yeah,
special?
yeah, because his defensive special, his alternative one that you unlock,
Mm-hmm.
it's an uppercut, and
Mm-hmm.
it's not a very good uppercut before the buff.
Mm.
I never used this move. It was incredibly unsafe. You were prone to getting anti-air. The recovery was awful, even on hit. Not even just talking about if you accidentally miss it, which was
Mm-hmm.
very easy to do. So improvements were made to this move a lot in this update.
Yeah.
Now it has air control. The hitbox is better. You're actually invincible until you land, and even like a little frame afterwards. So this move, using it actually feels good now. You can actually do some pretty sick combos with it. I can't wait to see what people come up with it. So
How do you turn training mode? You can't use the alternate moves, right?
oh yeah, you totally can. All you have to do in training mode is
Axel Stone.
if you have the move unlocked, just pick the character, and just like you do in any mode, you'll be able to pick the alternative moves if you want to mess around
Wow,
with
they're
them.
not let me. They're not unless I don't got them shits. Hold on.
You
Oh,
probably
shit.
don't have it.
Yeah, I don't.
Let's come. Floyd.
Yeah.
I didn't touch him. Jesus Christ.
The fight.
Anyway, yeah. So That is that the only improvements with Axel?
No, here. I'm gonna pull out the patch notes on a different thing so that way it doesn't mess with the call real quick. Just give me a second. Because I realized that's what was the problem there. Probably should have this a little quicker. Small delay. Let me see. Because I know there was a bunch of other changes that they gave him that made him feel more consistent. And I really feel like that's what this update is. It's the consistency update. That was desperately needed. Almost got it. Takes a little longer to get it on here, but at least it'll stay. Okay, there we go. Back in business. Alright. So, going over more Axel changes here. So that's just the Dragon Crush changes. The next change is for his offensive special, his alternative one. It's called Dragon Bite.
Yeah.
Basically, so his offensive special on the ground. You know, you do his normal air special, and he does a little roll and then that punch.
Yeah.
So his offensive
that
special,
one, okay.
that's the alternative. Yeah. So his offensive special, that's the alternate in case you don't have it unlocked.
Yeah.
It's just that roll part, and then the punch. But now,
I know you're talking about.
Yeah, so now that it's on the ground, the move changes. So looking at it here, on Dragon Bite, it now has better recovery, which is good because that thing, when it would start hitting with multiple people, its hit stop was really bad. So that getting faster recovery, good. It costs less green life to use, which that's another thing I feel like this patch did, is it redid everybody's special health usage, which was desperately needed, especially with somebody like Adam. Another buff that they did is they increased the damage. That thing hits hard now. That move hits really hard, and I feel like people need to pay attention to the damage buffs because you're gonna notice a lot of those in this patch.
Yeah, the damage buffs are pretty good in this game.
Yeah, yep. Don't take those for granted, people. They're really good. Another change for Dragon Bite is it now has more active frames. So a problem that was happening with this move is because he's extending his fist out forward and then lingering a bit, it wasn't as active for as long as you saw it. So what would end up happening is in tight, chaotic situations, like a good example is on stage 3, when you get on, I think it's right before you fight Nora, you get in that long hallway where you can't go up and down, and there's a bunch of enemies.
Yeah.
This move is pretty decent there, but the problem that move was running into a lot for me on that stage was my fist would be hanging after I do that offensive special, and sometimes a Galaxia with a knife would actually hit the tip of my fist, which would count as a hurt box. But because it wasn't active, it wasn't actually punching him. So you would get clipped a lot. Yeah.
And this is the alternative special, right?
Yep, this is the alternative one. So now that they have more active frames on that, you guys should have a lot more consistency with connecting that fist and not getting clipped as bad. Excuse me.
And he's faster too, it seems.
Yep. And then the final change for Dragon Bite, which is my favorite one, is it has less freeze now, which is good. So what that means is in Streets of Rage, especially in this one, when you hit multiple enemies with the same attack, sometimes your character will take a minute as he's hitting each person, which is basically the hit freeze. Sometimes it can cause you to get hit because if you're not careful, you hit too many enemies, the enemy that you hit that is not recovering off the ground can come up and hit you during the move. You're gonna see that change a lot. So less freeze is good, you want that, because now the move's gonna finish quicker, which means you can recover and reposition to maybe hit again or do something different.
Let's head stun on your thing, on the opposing end.
Yeah. So that's a great change. That's all the changes for Dragon Bite. They did a few changes to the Grand Upper, So now it has increased invincibility time, which means it's going to be a much better anti-air and a much better like safe option in case you can't jab. Keep in mind, Grand Upper is cancelable.
Yep, it wasn't like that before.
Yep, so you can cancel it. I think it's the first 2 hits. On the 3rd hit, I don't think it's cancelable. I can't remember if it is or not.
Nah, the 3rd hit
Yeah.
isn't. So this is
Yeah,
the
so-
first 2 hits.
Yeah, so before he lifts his fist up in that uppercut motion from Grand Upper,
Yeah,
if you
see?
need to, you can react. Yeah, there you go. So you got that going on.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other change that it got is it does more damage. Again, don't take these damage buffs lightly, people. Damage buffs are really good because they allow you to, you know, get through enemies quicker. You'll be able to reposition much quicker when you do this kind of stuff. And then the other really nice change that I was waiting for Grand Upper that actually makes it like better now, even though I still feel like people are going to try to use the dragon roll for him. Grand Upper can now hit multiple enemies. Before, sometimes during that little slide with the Grand Upper, sometimes it wouldn't catch people. It would sometimes drop people out, or people will just go flying a different direction or something like that. Now that it's, you know, made to hit multiple people, it should be a lot more consistent, and it should be really good for you dealing with crowds of enemies. So like, if your grouping is on point, you're definitely going to be able to easily kill people with this move, especially since you can special cancel the first 2 hits. So overall, Grand Upper, good move, and it's good that they're buffing the base moves because it's going to help people get the alternative moves later. Okay,
Yep.
Now we have the Dragon Dive. I'm trying to remember which move that is. Dragon Dive, Dragon Dive. What move is that?
Let me see. Let's check it right now.
You know, to see if it's the alternative, because I believe that's his that's one of his air moves. This is how you know I don't play Axel that much, because I can't remember the move off my back of my head like that. But I do know which one it is, because one is obviously that roll that he does into that forward little punch. And I know they've been buffing that a lot, because the last update before this one, they gave it on where it ignores like body weight and gave it more consistency. So going over the changes here, now they improved the last hit on this hitbox, so I'm assuming that's the dragon, like the little roll and the punch at the end. So that's gonna be better. Longer active frames, less free. Yeah, that sounds like, yeah. Okay, that sounds like the little roll he does.
That's the roll he does, right? In the air?
Yeah, I'm thinking it has to be that. Yeah.
Let me see.
Because it's either that or he has this alternative air special where he basically he comes down with a fist, and I believe in the last update they buffed that move quite a bit because now it leaves like a little fire AoE on the ground. But I don't think they're talking about that move. They could be, because I know they mega buffed his original air special on the last update, so they might have been doing this one. I'll have to. Yeah.
I'm looking at it right now. Hold on. Somebody made a video.
Just making sure I'm getting the thing here, because I already got like so many things like running. Just make sure I don't get disconnected or anything.
Let's see. What am I doing? Let me use my computer. Give me a second. Let me just use my
I'm about
computer.
to say, actually, here, what I can do is now that they updated Discord on PlayStation, I can actually just transfer this to my PlayStation chat real quick, and then that way I can go inside of the game while we read this off, and that should be a little easier for us. Let's see.
What's going on, Tiffany? Yeah, we basically trying to break down the patch notes for everybody. You see, Dragon Dive, Axel. because I don't have his Oh, here we go. I don't have Axel's
There.
his moves. Unfortunately, I didn't touch him. No, actually, sorry, I have his, but I don't have it on my computer. My PC version.
Here,
I,
now that I transferred it over to the PlayStation, I can actually go inside of the game, and that should be a little easier since I have all the moves, and I can just pull up the notes. You can
Dragon
still hear me,
Wing.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Let me try that then.
Dragon Upper. Dragon Smash. Okay, that's not that it. Dragon Bite.
Alright, so this is the
Dragon Dive. Yeah, Dragon Dive is just the one in the air. This is original air special.
Yep, okay, so that is the one with the little rolling fists.
Yeah.
So yeah, they buffed it even more. That's actually
Nah,
really good
yeah,
now.
you could actually mess with it in the air now.
Yeah.
You can end it in the opposite direction. I'm not sure if he was able to do that before, was he?
I think he was before actually, because I remember that was the change that people were wanting. So that's good that he can do that, and it's gotten like mega buff now, because that's like the second massive buff that it's gotten. We got that going on. Alright, I guess moving on, Dragon Upper. So, Dragon Upper is the alternative defensive that he has. So, it's that uppercut I was talking about. They make it buffed at this patch. So now it has slight air control, and anytime you see slight air control in this update or this patch note, it just means that you can move around. So when you do this move, you won't have to sit in place or go a certain route. You can control it and adjust on the fly, which is really nice. Because before, you couldn't.
Yeah, it's not as committal, basically.
Yeah, you don't have to commit. And it also leads to like some interesting combos once you get the air control done. That's right. So it has slight air control. It has a better hitbox now. It hits off the ground, which that's really nice. The fact that he gets a new OTG, that's pretty quick.
Scoop people up.
Yep. The recovery is now invincible. That's
nice.
Makes it a lot more safe. You can actually use it in like Mania Plus content and survival mode a little more freely now. And the final change for it is it has less freeze on hit. So that means it's going to complete pretty much at the same consistency regardless of how many people it hits. So much needed love for Dragon Upper. Go ahead and use it, people. It's better now.
Use that move.
And now we're going to talk about one of his star move changes. It's the only one I see on this list. It's his Dragon Burst. It's the original. The Tornado effect is now much bigger hitbox, which means
you get more people.
Yeah, you're gonna get more people, but you also have to remember, I believe this also affects the boss version of him too when you fight him in survival. So watch out for that. I don't think they would be that mean, but considering the way that they changed the AI behavior this update, because it was a drastic change, I noticed like the enemies are being a lot smarter now. You have to actually be aware. Boss Axel might have gotten this buff too, so watch yourself. Good change though.
Hitbox is a lot bigger, sucks people in more. Good to go.
So now the next change that they did to him is the charge attack recovers faster. So Axel's charge attack is known for being one of the better ones in the game. It is capable of grouping up enemies when there's multiple enemies in line. So if you like to spawn multiple enemies in there and just line them up and do one charge attack, the first guy you hit is going to hit all the other ones and knock them down. And now that it has faster recovery, that's really good because a lot of people like to use little tricks with that charge attack. Because like Axel, we know how people think he's slow and stuff like that. You can actually charge attack and right as the charge attack comes out, you can whiff a back attack to almost do like a wave dash. And now that this is faster with the charge attack recovery, I'm sure people are going to be able to get used to the new timing. They're going to be moving a little quicker with them. Keep in mind, you can also use the momentum of the charge attack to cancel into different special moves and blitz and stuff. So I know a lot of people love doing Dragon Wing after using the charge attack to get almost like a sliding Dragon Wing for combos and regrouping. So that should be easier now. Good change. You use your charge attack more. Do it. The last combo kick recovers faster and the hitbox stays active longer after impact. So what this is basically saying is your basic attack chain at the end of it, that little kick he does, just like your charge attack, it's better now. It basically got the same change as the one mentioned before where it recovers faster. But that hitbox being active for longer, it's good that they changed that, because a problem that was happening before with Axel's basic attack combo is some of the other characters just had a faster combo than he did. So what would end up happening is if he was to keep doing that combo on somebody, they could actually interrupt him on that final kick sometimes.
Yeah, that's true. I remember that. That was annoying, yo.
Yeah, yeah, it was annoying, and now they fixed it.
Yeah, I didn't. There was a lot of stuff that they did that Axel made me. I mean, I was never 100% an Axel fan, but I used him here and there in all the other Streets of Rages. But now that they made him like kind of more mobile, I might start using him again. Before I used to use him because he was a lot faster and more you know, mobile in the other games. But this game he's slow in comparison to the other games. But now they beefing up his speed, so it's making me like, you know, like him again.
Yeah, I think that's like that's really important for him too right now, because Axel has more than enough damage. I don't think there's gonna be a single person that's gonna argue with you saying that this guy doesn't do damage.
Yeah, he
kills
doesn't need any more.
quick.
He doesn't need any more buffs when it comes to damage output. He doesn't. I think it was more so his speed.
Yep, that's really what it is. Is for him, he just needed a bunch of speed changes, and I'm glad that they're doing that for him. The final change that Axel gets in this update is his default defensive special, so that's the Dragon Wing. It now has more depth, and whenever you see a move says it has more depth, that just means that they basically polished up the hitbox on it to make it make more sense, and they made it better. So that should be catching a lot more people. It should be OTGing a little bit more easier. It should just overall just be a better feeling move. So for those who don't have like Axel's moveset right now, the default moveset for Axel is really, really good now. He feels like a really solid character. His speed has gotten way better since his update. The way he's able to chain attacks now, excuse me, is gonna feel better. And then now your kill confirms are going to be a lot more consistent too, and I think that's like the biggest thing, especially for y'all speedrunners out there. We're all about getting those speedy kill confirms and moving and grooving.
He's not that fast, but like as far as walking speed, but he can cancel a lot of his moves now, a lot better.
Yep, which you can use the momentum of those moves to make up for his walking speed. So overall, I'd say Axel definitely got some much needed love in this update. You're probably going to see a lot more people when you start doing public runs and survivals and arcade runs and all that. You're going to probably see a lot more Axels. And for y'all dedicated Axel players, I know y'all are eating in this update right now. This man got nothing but buffs. I didn't see a single nerf.
Nah, he got no nerfs, bro. No nerfs at all.
All buffs.
Yeah, ever since the game came out, he hasn't had any nerfs. I don't recall him having any nerfs.
Yeah, no, I can't think of any nerfs he's ever gotten either, too.
That's wild.
Because I think he's one of the. I don't want to say because I don't want to like get that misinformation, but as far as I recall, I don't remember him ever having an infinite either. He had kill confirms, but he never had an infinite. And I think it was because of that reason they never saw a reason to nerf him, because like every other character had some sort of infinite at one point or another. So it's kind of interesting to see where he lands now. But
have they discovered any infinites for this guy lately or no?
I have to keep looking around. I'm been like looking around the community and seeing if there's any videos or any talk of like any Axel 4 infinites. I'm sure somebody's gonna come up with one now with all the new changes and buffs to these moves.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure one developed. It's probably just gonna be incredibly execution heavy. So we'll have to see. But I guess that does Axel 4.
Yeah, that's Axel 4.
Now,
So we're gonna add him.
The next person I have after him is Blaze.
All right, so let's go to Blaze. I read Blaze. Okay, now the only thing they have for Blaze, based off of the last patch before this one, is she had increased damage on wall bounce from offensive special. Infinite combos are harder to set up. That was literally all she had. Literally all she had. But
yeah, that sounds about right. Cause old Blaze in version 7, because that's what I'm gonna call it, because that's what people call it. That update was version 7. She had quite a few new infinites that people found out. Again, them being execution heavy, but the fact that she had them with her base set was insanity. And she was already just such a good character anyway. And she had really good like kill confirms. Her jabs were safe. Her cancels were great. Damage was good. Consistency on hitboxes was good. Like she was just a solid character. That's why they didn't like really do much to her. And when the game first came out, she was one of the best characters in the game next to Adam. She was killing it. So
yep.
Now in this update, with the notes I have here on version 8, she got hit a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. She got hit a little bit, but she did get some decent buffs to kind of make up for it. So I'll start up from the top on her here. So Hazanson or whatever. That's basically her her default blitz.
Oh shoot, let me go to this girl.
Oh wait, no, that's not her default blitz. Ah, okay, so they're just going right straight to her offensive special. Okay, got it. So they changed her alternative offensive special. So this is really funny. When this first came out with the Mr. X's Nightmare, I remember posting a video on this or just raising awareness of it. This offensive special led to the easiest infinite I have ever seen.
Oh yeah.
Because it would just it was just a bunch of series of flip kicks that would just launch the person in the air. And then you would just jump kick. Hold your jump kick in midair after hitting it, charge attack on the wall, and immediately cancel into that move again. And then jump kick. And the jump kick was keeping them against the wall while getting rid of all the wall bounces. And then once all the wall bounces were gone, infinite. And now they made this move better, because now it ignores the weight of the opponent that it's hitting. So what that means is regardless of how fat the enemy is, so like when you fight Big Bens,
Commissioner,
those rockets, they will fly the same height. Now, this is gonna make it more consistent for getting more hits on those guys, but on the bigger guys, you're not gonna get the infinite anymore. That is gone. I'm sorry to say it. Good luck. You're not gonna get that infinite anymore. And to be perfectly honest, people really weren't using this offensive special like that too much anyway, because Kosho is just so good. So
yeah,
you got that going, man.
She's good already, man. She's good, man.
Yeah, she's really good.
She's always been good throughout all the Streets of Rage anyway.
Oh yeah, but she's been one of my go-tos, like when I first started playing this series. So It's good to see that she still kept that even after all this time. The second change they made to this offensive special is they actually reduced the amount of life that it takes. So now you can actually use it more and not feel as bad. Because I'm telling you, when I used to do that infinite, when I first discovered, the amount of green health that thing was taking on Mania Plus was wild.
Oh,
it would take
so,
like 1/4 of your health bar.
Oh, so it doesn't take a lot of your green health. It doesn't give you a lot of green health,
right? It does
right?
not do that much green health now. It's a lot more reasonable.
All right.
Which is good because that move is still susceptible to anti-air. So for y'all using this move, this is more to like use it as a combo. It's not going to be your crowd control move. This is the move you use for like if you're trying to do kill combos and stuff. And now it's on to the most controversial move of her, the Rekiken. We all know, we all love that alternative blitz, that fist that ends everyone. They actually buffed and nerfed it. So I'll go over the buffs first. The first buff is they made it safer. It has 2 more invincibility frames now. So basically, what this does is it turns it into Shiva's Flying Blitz. You remember that attack? The flying kick that everybody loved to spam?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
It turns it into that.
Basically, because it's got more invincibility now.
So does it have invincibility on startup or finish?
I believe it's on startup.
Okay.
Because once that attack is already coming out, I think that's when the invincibility frames were gonna end anyway.
When does it end though? Does it end after the move?
I believe so.
Okay.
Because when I was using it after the update for this one, I felt like I was able to anti-air with it a lot more consistently. In case I didn't feel like using green health, or I wanted to get some of it back. So yeah, move feels more consistent with doing that. However, here comes the nerf. So they reworked its juggle properties. So what this means is it's going to cause fewer infinites. Now, the Rekiken infinite is not necessarily gone. What it's just going to mean for players using this move is they're just going to have to find a new route. I've been trying to find a new route. It's still a little tricky to do it because my old route again was using the that little offensive special that she does with the flipping kicks and all that. Yeah. And then once I got rid of all the wall bounces, I could then transfer into the Rekiken infinite against the wall. So you can still do it. It's just your setup is going to have to be different. But this is the nerf that's going to hurt this move though. Is Rekiken now does less damage. So
makes sense
for
though.
Those who, yeah, it does make sense because you'll see later on they did that same change with Shiva.
I mean, it's like a move like that potentially could still have an infinite route to it. Should have have a crazy amount of damage reduction on it. Makes no sense.
Yeah, because before when that move first came out, boy, that thing was deleting people. That thing would kill Max so fast. Alright, now the next change, this is for her alternative air special. So it's basically her default blitz, but just the final hit, that swipe she does after the flip. So this basically is going to receive the same change that, what's it called? Her default blitz got in the old update where it ignores the weight, makes it more consistent. The other change that it got is it has a better hitbox now. Its depth is better, so it's gonna feel better. The big one on this move that was killing me a lot when I used it is its recovery time was reduced. So you might actually be able to get a combo from it now, which is better. Another thing that it also got, which is a quality life change that a lot of special moves are getting, is its life cost was reduced. So, hey, you don't use as much green health. This is good. The final change that it also got is its hit stop time was also reduced, which means if you hit multiple people with it, you're not going to be stuck there. You're going to be able to recover in time to either continue a combo or get ready to hit them again. So overall, I think this move got better. I am glad that they changed it because now when people use Rekkaken, you gotta remember this move OTGs. So the fact that she got a much better move and just move depth for it with the OTG still intact means people are going to be able to use Rekkaken and not have to worry about not having an OTG accessible to them if they want to have one.
Which makes sense because,
overall,
like I said, the whole science behind making moves is you do not make a move fast, strong, less recovery time. What is it? A lot of range. You can't give it though all four. You gotta get rid of one. You gotta like nerf one or two of the things so it could be a balanced move. Especially for a character like her, she's mad limbo, you know? She's mad nimble, so it's like you can't make her fast, strong, good range. That's ridiculous. So, you know, it's good that a move like that has reduction on its on a damage output. Like I think a lot of them, any move that's prone to laying infinites on people, the damage reduction should be greatly reduced. I mean, the damage output should be greatly reduced.
Right. I agree with that sentiment too, because it was just like the amount of times where I would just be in like a random public Mania Plus arcade run and I would see Blaze and I'd see them have Rekkaken on, and it's just like I wouldn't even have to do much for them. I would just set them up. I would get rid of all the wall bounces on like a boss or something, and once they got in that Rekkaken loop, I would just sit back and sip my drink, bro. Because I knew the boss was gonna die like in 10 seconds. Because that move was just hitting.
Yeah, that's ridiculous, bro.
Alright, so another change that she got, this is another series of buffs for another alternative move. This is for her alternative defensive special. It's basically, it's these two like punches that have flames at the end of it, and she does them pretty quick. It's like hit, and she actually side switches herself when she does it too. So this got a good damage buff, which that's actually important because that move is invincible because it's a defensive special. So what this means on enemies that can't like move, for example, like Max, when you fight him as a boss, he doesn't really like juggle and move. This move can actually kill him pretty quick. And it can be a good answer to him either trying to grab you or him trying to jump kick you or whatever it may be. It's going to do good damage, especially against him. And it's also going to be really useful on the final boss when you fight the robot, because doing that inside of one of its legs does mad damage.
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
Another buff that it got is longer active frames, which is good because sometimes people would actually do it so quick that the second hit wouldn't come out even though you hear it, and so therefore nothing would hit on that side, and I feel like this helps change that. Obviously another change it got was the life cost was reduced, so less green health, which was good because that thing just like Adam, too much green health. I'm glad that they're adjusting that. It also has now better range and depth. So as I mentioned before, it's just going to feel like a much better move. It's going to hit from much further away. You don't have to put yourself in danger. That's awesome. And it'll be good for crowd control. And now the next change, going on to her alternative star move. So it's basically like the Super Kyo show, the one that she does 3 times in a line. This now has much better damage. And it has better depth. So, because I know a lot of people like using her original one when she does almost like this like energy gathering, and then she launches them all into the air. That's like her, her default star move. I didn't really feel like people were the alternative too much, and it's a shame because there's actually a couple scenarios where I actually preferred that one over the original, especially when I'm like crowd controlling people, because it just has such a big hitbox. And now that it has a much better damage output, it means I'm going to be able to kill with, you know, with that quicker. Don't forget, people, this move can also wall bounce, and it OTGs. And it OTGs, anytime a star move OTGs, it doesn't actually use your OTG. So you can get another OTG afterwards to keep the combo going.
Keep that in mind, people. That's a little gem.
That's
That's
a
a
really
little gem.
important factor. Because if you do that correctly, because this wall bounce is much easier, like I said with that record can change earlier, you might be able to get an infinite off of it. If you get the timing down right. So yeah, experiment with that move a little more. And then the final change, this is to her back attack, which we all know how good her back attack is because it actually
Those
a lot of
infinites,
people
baby.
used it for combos. Yep, it used to be for infinites. It got a buff. Its hitbox is now extended upwards.
Damn.
So what's gonna happen now is it's gonna be more consistent for combos. But what I have noticed with that move is because it actually extended the hitbox upwards, it actually changes a few combos. So while I
it
feel
might
like
make
we
it
may have
hard. It
lost
might make it. It might make it harder now
Yeah.
because
Yeah, because we might have lost an infinite or two here or there, but what we gain was just better anyway. I feel like they're just trying to move the game from infinites anyway, and we really shouldn't need infinites. Our characters hit so hard.
yeah, I think
But,
infinites is only good if they like extremely hard to do.
Right. That's why I don't mind whenever I see like somebody doing a like there's an Atom Infinite, and I'll talk about that when we get to the Atom changes because it got introduced with this update, which is really funny. But that's the changes for Blazes. Overall, I'd say she's still an incredibly strong character. For those who feel like she may have like lost a lot of stuff and didn't gain anything, I'm telling you, experiment. Because with the changes that a lot of her moves got with the better hit depth and more damage on certain moves, less recovery, ignores weight, you guys may have lost some infinites, but your crowd control, your pacing, is going to be so much better to the point where you're not going to need the infinite anyway. And then your kill confirms are going to be so much better too. I'm telling you, that alternative star move hurts now. It really hurts. So please use it.
Yeah, people gotta just get used to the. You know what it is? People have been very complacent and used to the way their characters are now. I mean, sorry, they used to be. So with these changes, it's like the rug was pulled underneath them. Like even when it comes to skate, you know. But we'll talk about that when the time comes.
Oh yeah, no, I'm gonna let you handle the skate changes because they're nice. People are sleeping on that character, I'm telling you.
Yeah, he's nuts,
But,
man.
moving on in order, the next character from the Streets of Rage 4 cast is Cherry Hunter, and this is a character I've been waiting to talk about because I feel like people are sleeping heavily on Cherry right now. So we'll start with the first change, sound check. So
first, let me see what she got.
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, what she had before, the things they did to her before was Blitz cannot fall into holes, as well as charge attack and combo ender. Defensive special knockback is bigger. Canceling back attack with defensive special don't hit enemies anymore. Those were the changes she had.
Yeah, so what's interesting about those old changes for Cherry is I remember before that update, she actually got a previous couple of buffs that really made her take off. I remember specifically her getting the damage buff because a lot of people were complaining that she wasn't doing enough damage.
I remember that.
Yep, and when she got that damage buff,
That's ridiculous. She don't need. The thing is, I was telling people about this. It's all about the archetypes of a character and how they flow. You do not give a character like Cherry massive damage output. You just don't, because then it takes away the whole point of being a combo heavy character. You having to be good with being able to evade, crowd control, knowing how to dodge people, all that stuff. Like it takes away from the meta of the character. It makes her not who she should be. That's kind of like giving Skate a whole bunch of damage output on all his moves. That's ridiculous. It makes no sense.
Yep, and I remember they did it anyway. When I went to go test it, I could still remember it so well because I was just so shocked. I did her usual grab pummel, where you jump on the enemy and pummel them a bunch of times and jump up and do it a couple times and loop it, right?
Yeah.
That pummel did so much damage that I remember I remember seeing this. A few people came up with kill combos on bosses because of how strong that pummel is. And in fact, to this day, you can still do it if you catch Nora on stage 3, because she's one of the few bosses that doesn't really like try to interrupt you. You go for a bunch of pummels on her. You can just keep pummeling her to death. You angle yourself just right in the corner. She just keeps walking into you. And so she keeps walking into the pummel, and you just pummel her to death, and she would die so fast. I remember that was like one of the fastest ways to clear her boss stage, because you would just jump on the 2 super Gaussias onto her, and then that was it. Because the Gaussias would have such a hard time hitting you from up there. So, you know, she still has her damage buffs, by the way, people. That didn't go anywhere. But now I'm gonna talk about her new changes, because this is ridiculous. Ready for it? Because I'm excited.
Yeah, go ahead.
Alright, so the first change is for sound check. This is her defensive special. It now hits sooner. So this is a good change, because I feel like sometimes it would take forever for this move to hit, and especially when you needed to hit it now before an attack would come out. Good change. The special stage effects. So this is her most popular alternative special. I feel everybody like uses this one. This is her alternative air special. So it's this diving kick that she does that leaves a fire patch on the ground, and that fire patch would OTG and launch people.
Keep talking. I'll be right there. I'll be right back. Keep talking.
Okay. Yeah. So now what this does, people, is the first hit has a small ground bounce, and then the other change that it got is it doesn't knock people down on the first hit, and this is a change I've been waiting for a lot, because the what would end up happening a lot with this move is, because the first hit would actually knock them down, you wouldn't get the OTG launcher, and it would, you know, obviously mess with your combo. Now it shouldn't do that. You should have a lot more consistency in at least getting that launcher. You gotta remember that launcher hit, if you connect it in a weird way, you're not gonna get your OTG still. I can still have that little problem. Even like testing it now, I still get that every now and then. But overall the move got better though, because now your OTG is gonna be a little bit more consistent. Even on like the bigger enemies like Kubo, like the heavier set enemies. Moving on from special stage effects, we have the somersault. And for those who don't know what the somersault is, the somersault for Cherry is her alternative defensive. You don't really see this move very. I feel like people just gravitate a lot more towards the sound check because of its combo, its death. But somersault is actually much better now. I always thought it was like a really cool move because, unlike sound check, she can actually move towards it, and she isn't limited in her movement too much, because she can move left and right during it. And it's a quick 2 hits, and it actually does pretty decent damage. But what makes this move so nice is, unlike sound check, its hitbox is a straight up like 360 degrees. So it hits all around, even hits quite a bit above her. So this move is really good at anti-airing stuff. So like those rubies, those hot kick girls, and all that, they would have a hard time trying to anti-air or get their jump kick out because of how effective this move was. And now it just got much better. So reading off its changes, first change, which I love so much, they reduced how much life it takes for green health. And the other change that's really good for it now is this move is now fully invincible. And this is really sick because, like I said before, you can move during it. And now that it's fully invincible, you can just go spam crazy. Because once you're done with the animation, you can just immediately go into like another move, like say like a blitz or something. And you'll be able to get some interesting combos with it. I have seen some people actually use this with combos before, just because it has such a massive vertical hitbox. Like that thing is huge. So overall, much better move. The last change that it also got is it has a deeper hitbox, which very clearly, just using it now in my own training, yeah, you'll definitely notice it and feel it. Use this move, experiment with it more. In case you want an alternative to sound check. I know sound check is probably still going to be used by a lot of people anyway, because I think people are just too used to it with the way it wall bounces at its combos. And the fact that it got a buff this update anyway too. The next change that's insane for her, this is the one I really wanted to talk about, because I seen a video earlier just showing just how busted this change actually is. But both blitzes, so both her blitz attacks, her flying knee, and then that sliding guitar hit that she does, they can now be canceled by an air special before they end. So what this means now is it's just another one of those you don't have to really commit things. Because if I see I'm about to get anti-air by like a Donovan, I can immediately, even on whiff, like I don't even have to hit anything with this, I can just immediately cancel into an air special. And if you're using the alternative air special, then you're just gonna be able to immediately do like, basically almost like a low to the ground side kick, like you would say like in a fighting game or something, like say like Mortal Kombat, like Kung Lao. And this is gonna lead to some really cool crowd control situations. It's gonna lead to some good damage. But more importantly, the reason why this is also kind of cool is because now that it can be air special cancelable, she can basically do this crazy like sequence with sliding knee, which is an alternative, where she can actually cancel very easily at the end, because the move was considered airborne for some reason. So like people were having a hard time getting it in combos. But now that you can air special cancel, you can use sliding knee, and then at the end of it, use the momentum to do any one of your grounded special moves. So the video that I saw is really crazy. You can just do sliding knee into sound check, her original defense special, and you are just fully invincible. The man had like 20 bongos in training, and they weren't touching him. They couldn't touch him because...
Really? 20 bongos in training? That's one of the hardest guys to fight in training, man. If not. Because once you get caught by one of them, that's it. Again, he had him on the hardest level.
You would just get killed. But the thing is, because of how strong sliding knee is already, like I already thought it was a really good move, the thing that kept it in check was you couldn't cancel it at the end. Now, you can. And because you can, you have options. You actually have some really cool options, because the momentum she gets from the slide after it hits, you can actually use that to cancel into a special and keep the momentum. And you'll see this on like her offensive specials if you do an offensive special after it. But the big winner for that is just the fact that she can do a defensive now. So her crowd control, especially in something like survival, is going to be insane, because she can just keep doing this, repositioning a bunch, and just staying invincible. And as long as she hits one person, she gets that green health enough to do it again. And you gotta remember, sliding knee actually OTGs as well. So even the opponents that are on the ground, you can get something, and it's good.
Yeah, they getting scooped.
Yep. So it's the really, really good move now. and the fact that like she has these air cancels because she already got a previous air cancel in an old update before when she got that damage buff.
And
So
people saying that she's not that good still, right? They complaining about her.
Well, it's because Cherry is a very high execution heavy character. I think she has one of the highest skill floor ceilings in this game, next to what's his name?
What, Zan?
I want to say Zan, but I also want to say Floyd, because Floyd is also a little difficult to use as well.
That's true.
But yeah, no, the fact that she's getting more like options for cancels is really good. Don't take those for granted, people. Those are really good.
And she still has good damage output as well.
Oh yeah, her damage did not go anywhere. She did not get a single
damage nerf.
Well, actually, I can't say she didn't get a single damage nerf because I'm seeing it right here.
Oh, what did
they
they
gave her
nerf
more
at?
damage to compensate for it anyway. But there is one nerf that she did get in this update that I'm going to bring attention to because it's a lot bigger than people think, and it is her pummel. So we all know and love it. It's her jump pummel when she jumps onto an enemy's face and then starts pummeling them and does her little jump loop over and over and over and then keeps pummeling them. So now when you're on top of the enemy during the pummel, remember how I was saying she was incredibly safe up there in the previous update? That got nerfed.
Well,
she's now more vulnerable on top of an enemy.
Oh, so you know what that means then, right? They probably extended her hurt box when she's on enemy.
Yep, that's exactly what it means. So when you're doing this pummel now, people, you need to be very aware because before were things like Galcia's and Donovan wouldn't really be able to hit you. Like Donovan wouldn't be able to uppercut before as well when she was on top of an enemy in the old update. Yep. Now you're getting hit. So you need to make sure that you're grouping up your enemies accordingly. Have them be in the front of you, not behind you. You can't just ignore the people behind you anymore when you're on top of an enemy pummeling them. Which is why they gave you the ability to leap off of an enemy to then reposition on another enemy and continue to pummel on them. That's the whole point of using the air movement. That's what I'm talking about.
Does she have any iframes when she jumps off an enemy onto another one, or no? She could be anti-air.
As far as I remember, I think she still kept those because I didn't see any changes to it.
All right.
So that should be a little safer. Now, when you do flip up after jumping off of an enemy, be aware that you are now considered airborne. So anti-air moves will come out from enemies. So if you need to use your air special to keep yourself safe, to kind of bypass that little fault. But other than that, that's like the only nerf that I see on here that she actually like really got. Coming with another big buff. So her default air special, which is just her guitar slam. This got more damage. So obviously giving a character like Cherry more damage, yeah. Did I mention that this move also OCGs, and in the previous update, it got a massive buff where it actually ignores the weight of the enemy. So it launches people mad high no matter how heavy they are, which is good for Cherry because you can get an actual decent follow-up from that. So use that more, please. It's really good. I know the alternative air special is really, really good and people really like that one, but don't sleep on her default one either, because that does mad damage. It chunks. And now the final change is actually to her alternative special in the air. Is her special damage has been rescaled. So what they did is they did it like this. The actual hit does more damage, and then the fire pool that it leaves behind does less damage. So what this means is they're trying to encourage people to actually hit with the actual move instead of just spamming the fire pool everywhere. So still good though, because overall the move just does more damage anyway. So just another damage buff. Honestly, I can say after all these changes with Cherry, people need to wake up. Wake up and use her. Get good with her. I'm telling you, it's worth the investment. It's really fun. You have so many creative combo opportunities. She's a really good speedrun character, by the way. Just putting that out there.
Yeah, she is.
Really good speedrun character, because the way with her run, which is different from Adam's dash and Shiva's dash, is because she's constantly running, the camera isn't struggling to keep up with her, because she's not running faster than the camera. She's running just at the right speed to be very quick, but to keep the camera rolling.
Yeah, she's like kind of jogging. She's not. Actually, the difference between her and those two guys, she's running. They're dashing.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
And the other thing too is because she's running, she can actually go up or down. She can adjust. She can even almost backwards run, almost like a moonwalk to reposition for certain moves and combos.
Yeah.
Really cool. Overall, good changes for her. Cherry's eaten in this update. Alright, the next person we got going on is Floyd. I know the Floyd players are going to be happy in this update because my boy Floyd got a lot of buffs.
So
we're going to read off the original notes first.
Yeah, so Floyd beforehand had better jab range, better hitbox on combo, added weapon specials, and slightly longer forward jump. But now he got, oh man.
Yeah, this is a lot. So it's gonna take me a minute to go through this because they did a lot.
He eating, man. He's eating.
Yep. So the first one is he walks faster. Floyd is now just naturally faster on the ground, which is really good. The second one, which I feel like people need to wake up and realize that this is a massive buff. Like I actually tested it out the first day when it came out, and I was astonished that they would give something like this to him. So, it is now harder for enemies to escape Floyd's throws and his throw combos. So, what this means is his magnetic grab, which is his default offensive where he's like, gotcha, and he pulls you in.
Mm-hmm.
It's so much harder to escape from his grab. Like, it is actually insane. Like, the bosses are struggling to escape. And when it's harder for somebody to get out of his grab like that, Floyd is one of the few characters that can actually combo and re-grab an opponent mid-air into almost like a standing grab again. So, for example, if you were to do like a very basic combo, like I can like throw out the easiest ones, like you just do a basic attack chain and then do the gotcha grab.
Mm-hmm.
When you got them in the gotcha grab, you can just hold them there. You can think. You have a lot more time to react. You can carry them a lot longer. They don't wiggle out as quick. And I'm noticing that even on like the bigger guys like Kobu and like boss enemies, the guys who are heavier that want to like break out of your grasp and stuff. And what makes this so crazy is his special that he can do when he has an enemy grab and he shocks them with his gauntlet.
Mm-hmm.
That, I don't know if it got a change in this. Yep, it did. Okay, that's why. Good. I guess I'll put those two together now. So, his grab special, that electrocution, when he holds them and zaps them, it now launches higher. And this does work on all body weights, even testing it now on this robot guy because he's a very heavy body weight. This is good. This leads to big damage because while this move is happening, you can actually charge up a charge attack and let it fly. And once that charge attack connects, you can re-grab them because the charge attack got better in this update too. And it leads into this really damaging combo, almost like a loop. And had they not been able to like break out towards the end because of diminishing returns, this would be an infinite. And it would be a very damaging infinite too, because his shock grab does a lot of damage. So that's what he's got going on. I can't wait to see what people come up with that. And I know you Floyd players are gonna be eating with that.
Yeah, they're gonna be going ham, son.
The next massive buff that he got is his jab range got even better. Floyd's jabs are just getting better in every update, I swear. This is good for him. This is gonna make it a lot easier for him to just keep his distance on enemies, because that was one of his like best things.
His
Just
jabs
holding
are
people
good
in
now.
place. And then another thing that is really good for him, it's crazy that they gave him something like this, but his combo damage got increased. And giving a character like Floyd more damage is really scary. So do with that info as you please, people.
He was already taking a lot of damage.
Yup. Another combo change is his last punch launches higher. It goes farther with better wall bounce, and it has better recovery. So what this means is at the end of a basic attack combo, like I was saying earlier, it is now much easier to connect a magnetic grab and then start doing some crazy combo shenanigans. So you got that going on, and there's going to be a lot more easier kill confirms, I feel, that come from this. The next change is his charge attack. His charge attack got mega buff this update. There are literally 4 changes just for his charge attack alone, so I'm going to start from the top. The first one, damage increase. I don't think I need to say anything more about that. It hurt. It hurt a lot. The next change he got is it launches higher, and it launches farther with a better wall bounce. You know what this means. Combos go burst. Everybody's gonna enjoy that a lot more. This one surprised me, but they actually gave him some of Max's treatment here. His charge attack now has armor properties. So this is more of a survival change than it is like an Arcade Mania Plus change, because in Mania Plus, I know people are going for full combos, so even if you get hit during armor, that would actually make your combo drop. But for y'all survival players with Floyd, this is a very nice change.
You're gonna need that, man.
That armor is pretty resilient, I gotta say. Anytime I feel like I want to let a charge attack fly, I can always get it out. I never had like a problem since the update now. Whereas before, I'd like to do a basic attack combo, and if I was quick enough, I'd actually get a charge attack at the end and then grab them for even like more damage. And sometimes I would get interrupted. Yeah. But it's got armor now, guys. So abuse that while you can. And the last change is it has better recovery. And from what I'm seeing, is it seems like this has better recovery on whiff and on hit. So that's a double buff. And that's all the changes for his charge attack. Now
you still got a whole bunch left, man.
Yeah, still got a whole bunch left. So now I gotta start talking about his special moves. So Power Slide. This is his alternative air special. People didn't really use this one too much just because the way it was launching before this update was kind of janky. It didn't really lead to any
do I even have that?
Floyd Irby.
You said the power slide?
Yeah, Power Slide.
Yeah, I don't even have that.
Basically, he does this diving kick.
I remember that. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. It got better this update. Not many people are using it. I'm sure people use it now more. So they added a hit on the way down, which it needed. And now this is the big change for it. But now the Power Slide launches higher, and it launches enemies closer to Floyd, which means he will actually be able to do follow-ups. Keep in mind, people, that this attack also OTGs. So do with that what you will.
Yeah, OTGs
I
are
think
crazy,
it's a much better move now. Yeah, I think it's a much better move now. Because the momentum you get from it and the fact that it OTGs, it launches closer towards you because the enemy actually flies towards you, means you can get a free grab or combo afterwards. Much better move. The next move we got going on here is his throw. And it's important we have to actually talk about his throw, because his throw might as well be considered a special move, because his throws are fundamentally way different than any other character in the game because of the way his throw works. So I'm gonna start from the top here. His throw
Yeah.
bounce is higher. This is good because this obviously leads to throw loops, more consistency in throw combos. The next throw change is his throw wall bounce damage is increased, which is really good because I know people love doing wall bounce combos with his throws. So that's going to be killing a lot quicker. This is a really good change, although subtle. I feel like people should wake up and see it. His throw now hits the enemy at close range, so there is actually a problem with his throw when it came to crowd control. Sometimes if an enemy was close enough when he threw somebody and they were inside of each other, too close, they actually would not get hit by the enemy that was thrown. This has now been fixed. So you'll be able to do a lot more crowd control from just throws alone, not even just talking about blitz attacks and special moves and all that other nonsense. So that's good. Another change to his throw is his throws do more damage. Once again, I don't think I need to really elaborate why that's a really good thing for him. Now this is a change to his throw, but this is going to start talking about his double throw. So his double throw is when he gets one enemy on one side, one enemy on the other side, he picks up and slams them both. So here are the changes to that. The launcher is now closer to Floyd. So what this means is, depending on what enemy you want to prioritize after getting a double throw like that, you should be able to follow it up a lot more consistently. And keep in mind, the double throw hurts. That is a really damaging throw. That thing can half health people. It hurts.
When he's in between both of them, right?
Yep, when he's in between two people and he picks them both up and slants them together. So that's going to do a lot more damage. Well, it's going to lead to a lot more damage now because of the fact that the launch properties of it is better. So like me doing it right now in trading, I can essentially choose which enemy I want to continue the combo on. And another thing that people probably haven't, really paid attention to about the double throw from Floyd, whenever you do this double slam, it ignores the weight of the enemy. So no matter how heavy two enemies are, the launch is going to be consistent every time, which is good because now that it launches enemies closer towards you, you get follow-ups. You just got to pick and choose who you want to follow up on. And what's really funny is if you have magnetic grab on, you can actually just re-grab them again, go up to another enemy and do another double throw. So it's really, really good stuff. Now, here's an interesting change that I actually like quite a bit. So this buff is basically saying his double throw now breaks armor and it breaks invincibility.
That's nuts.
So what this means is for bosses, I feel like this change is like really crazy for bosses now. So you know how bosses in every stage, or just whenever you fight them, they have a second phase where they power up? So some bosses like to remain completely immune until they're done finishing their animation, to which people would either respond with a star move or a move that would break invincibility or armor. Floyd can basically do this for free now without using a star move, that's insanity.
Yeah, that's freaking ridiculous.
When I think about it, because that essentially means in survival, when you have a bunch of enemies all the time, if you're fighting a boss that goes into a second phase like that, so say for somebody like, I'll use the most easiest one that we all know, Shiva. When she's getting ready to do that super electric puddle to transfer to the second phase, if you do a double throw near her, she's going to get interrupted every time. And you don't have to waste your star move. So that's a really big buff. And I feel like if people actually experiment with that more, you're gonna find a lot more interactions that you can just completely ignore now with the double throw. So overall, that his throws and double throw, really, really good. Which is good because he's a grappler type character.
Yeah, there's only two of them. Oh, sorry, three.
So, right. Now going over his grab special, I know I mentioned it before, I'm gonna mention it here again. His grab special now launches higher. So once again, this kind of almost ignores body weight. and because it launches higher, you get really insane combos. Like, if I actually practice it, because I was practicing it before, I was able to get like a 70-hit combo, which is his base set, because of that one change. And that combo will probably kill somebody.
Oh.
Really, really good stuff. His grab third punch slams the enemy on the ground, and this is really, really good because now a lot of people would just resort to just, you know, throwing the enemy. But if you actually let that third punch fly, that third punch before would just slam people into the ground and really leave anything, but it was a good crowd control tool because any enemies that were hit by the enemy that was punched would also get hit. Now, this is a combo tool because it launches them just high enough to where you can do a magnetic grab at the end and loop it into itself like 3 or 4 times. And that alone does pretty decent damage. So, again, do with that what you will. I'm sure people are going to make like fun combo videos using that because I got more options. Now, of course, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. There is one nerf in here. Actually, 2. Just looking at it again. The first nerf, Gatling Punch, is not invincible if you whiff this attack. So, I know a lot of people, especially like survival players using Floyd, they love the Gatling Punch because at any point they can cancel into a special or, just special or into a star. But the other thing that made this move so good was even on whiff, it was invincible. So you didn't even get punished for missing it. Now, if you miss Gatling Punch, you will be punished. I'm warning you guys now. Get good at hitting your Gatling Punch, or you will be punished. And that makes sense, because you should be punished if you whiff.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's a freak. He's a big-ass guy, man. He shouldn't be having he should be having a lot of cooldown on some of his moves. Come on.
Right. You also shouldn't just be invincible on a blitz attack for whipping said blitz attack. Like, that just doesn't add up. The other nerf that he got, and this is a survival-specific nerf, his alternative defensive special, so this AoE electric trap that he can land, like, lay around while launching himself upwards. This is for Bloodthirst. It does not heal you anymore when you're using Bloodthirst. So you cannot lifesteal off of that AoE puddle anymore.
Nope.
I'm sorry to say that this happened, but it was too good. Okay, you have to understand. This move was fully invincible, had air control, was a defensive special, could OTG, because it lingered, was removing the armor off of enemies, which meant Floyd just got to literally sit there on wake up and not care about their armored wake up. This move had too many things going on for it, and they had to hit it somehow. This is how they chose to hit it. They didn't take away any of the other things I just mentioned, because you still have the good invincibility frames, you still have the air control, you still have the aerial denial, you still have the OTG. The only thing you cannot do is lifesteal. So just keep that in mind when you get Bloodthirst in those later rounds on Floyd. Don't use that special and think you're going to heal from it. Use your blitz attack, use everything else. They're there. There are options for you. That cheese
more of that
y'all had, gone. It's gone. Get used to it.
The Survivor got a little harder.
Yep. Let me see. Yep, and that leads us to our final change for him, is his default blitz. I know a lot of people don't really use his default blitz like that, but his default blitz actually hits quite hard, and it's pretty easy to get combo confirms off of. So now what they did, which was a nice change, is they added some more invincibility to it. And where they added the invincibility is at the beginning. So that's at the startup, which means that now Floyd has a much better anti-air option or just invincibility option in case he doesn't want to use green health or defensive. So overall, y'all Floyd players, y'all are eating this patch. I know y'all lost that lifesteal cheese, but don't worry.
Now the question
The
is
damage buff that you got.
is his arms, where's the invincibility at? His whole body, or is it just his arms?
So it's on, I think it's his body, but specifically they added it at the beginning more so for his arms, because what was happening with this move is his arms would linger and people would be able to hit that. So what you would do with this move is you want to make sure on the first hit of that blitz to cancel it into a special. And that's where like that invincibility is. It's on that first hit. Because once the second hit comes out, obviously you're already hitting it. So you don't need the invincibility. However, I will say you still need to be careful with this move, people, because if you whiff it, you will be punished. It's another one of those situations. You whiff, you get hit. So keep that in mind. Other than that, like I was saying earlier, y'all Floyd players are eating. This was some good changes for y'all. You might have lost your cheese, the lifesteal, but don't worry, you didn't need it. If you're as good as you think you are at Floyd, you didn't need it.
Yeah, a lot of these exploits you don't really need like that, man.
Right.
Alright, so we got Adam, right? We got Adam now.
Yep, Adam.
Alright, let me read this right here.
Read us off with the old one.
So, hold on.
Adam Hunter.
For Adam, it says Air Specials does 2 more hits. More global damage. Blitz does more damage. Air Special. Listen, Air Special now have body hit properties. Adam Throw Butcher. Knife slower, like other Street Charades 4 characters.
Okay.
So I'm gonna guess. I'm assuming he's talking about the butcher knives in Chinatown. They slowed it down.
Yeah, because before he was I remember that he was one of the best characters for weapons because he had this this very specific dash attack with weapons where he kind of just dash forwards and hits twice. That would actually be so fast that he would just kill people very quickly with like a butcher's knife or something. So they had to tone that down. Yeah, I know. Old Adam was a different kind of man, I'm telling you. But
yeah, Adam was that guy, man.
But now with these new changes, I think Adam is back on the menu for being a top tier gun.
Yeah, because before they nerfed him a little bit before, and then now they
they nerfed him. Yep. I remember actually he was so good that he single-handedly caused the charge attack change that applied to every single character because he had a charge attack infinite loop that was doing way too much damage and was way too easy to do. It's why people actually have to buffer their charge attacks and do different moves instead of using charge attack and the charge attack. He did that. Remember?
Well, hold on. Does every character when they do their special, do they drop weapons, or it's just Adam?
You talking about their special, like just regular special moves?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty sure that's a thing that happens. Yeah.
I don't remember that. That's why. You never really paid attention to that, right?
I never really paid attention to it just because like I don't really use weapons too much just because I feel like they put me at a disadvantage sometimes. Like certain weapons I'll pick up because I know that their recovery is quicker. For example, like the really long spear, the pitchfork in the survival mode. Certain swords are really quick. Like there's certain weapons I'll prioritize. I never really like do a special move with it because normally I just try to get rid of the weapon as soon as possible. So like I'll hit once and then just throw it just to get it off the field because enemies like to use weapons against me a lot. But moving on, we got the new changes for Adam, and y'all Adam players be very happy because your boy got some much needed love this update. So starting with the first one, this is a bug fix. They fixed a bug where you could do an air special with no life costs. This is basically a nerf. You should.
I think it's just an adjustment, a fix. Cause that's like
Yeah, 'cause,
that's like
like,
that's a
Air
bug.
special with no life. Come on now. But so that's like the first change. Now talking about the actual changes he got. His alternative start move, last hitbox, is now taller, which is good. That's his lift off. It's the giant cyclone tornado attack that he does. That sucks people in. So that's got a much higher hitbox now. It should feel more consistent with grouping people up and sending them on their way. The next chance they got for him is his last combo kick, and his basic attack combo now has body hit property. So anytime you see the word body hit property in this patch note, that just means when he launches an enemy and there are a bunch of enemies behind that said enemy that he just launched in that direction, they're going to get crowd control and knocked down. And this is a really, really good change for him, because now that means he doesn't need to always do a charge attack to crowd control a bunch of enemies. Just his basic combo alone is going to be able to do the crowd control that he was always known for. Because in the first game that he came out with, like in the original game, he had this property. When he did that last kick that sent people flying, anybody that got caught by that enemy, they got knocked down. And what's really funny is before this update, Adam Streets of Rage Run in this game had it too. They gave it to him first before they gave it to his most recent counterpart, which I thought was a really interesting change. Having played with it, it feels really good. Honestly, like, just being able to do that, like I said before, I'll use the same example. On stage 3, right before you fight Nora in that really long hallway, being able to just do a basic attack combo and not commit, but still be able to crowd control enemies, great change. Absolutely phenomenal change. So the next change we got here is, if I can find it, here we go. This is the big one that I know Adam players and myself have been complaining about. His special move cost across the board has been reduced for every single special move. Obviously before, old Adam really had a life cost difference and problem. I don't know why they like made that such a problem for him before in the past, but in this update, it got fixed.
Thank God, eh?
Yeah, thank God. Finally, they're listening, guys. They're listening. So I'm very happy about that, and you can even test it yourself. Like if you were to set in training, set any enemy to Mania Plus, and then just spam your special move, you can see it doesn't take as much green health as it did before. It's just such an amazing like change. Like even now, if I was to just do straight choppers, I can get 5 choppers on Mania Plus difficulty, whereas before I would only get 3 if I was just spamming it. So they definitely gave us a very nice buff. So moving on, the next change. Now, this is the big change I wanted to talk about, because this is the one that really made him take off, I feel. So, his basic attack combo, the third hit, which is the uppercut, the one that launches before the kick comes out, this is now jump cancelable. So, this does a few things for him. Number 1, it gives him more combo options. Number 2, it leads to an infinite. And it's by far one of the hardest infinites in the game to do because of how quick and precise you need to be. And I still have yet to get this infinite down. When I get it, I'll send out a video clip for it. But it's already out there if you want to see how it's done. Basically, you have to exhaust all of your wall bounces on an enemy. Once you get them to the wall, you don't have to do an instant down air attack after doing the first 3 hits of his basic attack chain into his alternative air special, the slash kick in the air. And what ends up happening is, because of the way that slash kick now launches people and its properties have slightly changed, I think, in this update, it leads to an infinite on regular body weight enemies. This does not work on heavies. It doesn't work on Estelle, I don't think. So it only works on certain bosses. But the fact that he has this now, that's crazy. And what's even more crazy about it is because he has this jump cancel now, he can actually do some really interesting crowd control options in terms of like knocking people off the map to get them out very quickly, and it's going to be really, really cool to see how speedrunners, if anybody is going to be using Adam for speedrunning, use it, because I know that's going to be a really sick change. And I was really excited to play with it, because that's the same change that they gave to Cherry, that's the same change that they gave to Blaze. Like, a few characters have gotten that change. Anytime something gets jump cancelable, don't take it for granted. That's a really good change. The next change is actually also talking about his third hit as well in this combo. The third hit in his basic attack combo now has an extended hitbox towards his body. So what this means is it's just a lot more consistent in getting that uppercut, because sometimes that uppercut would whiff. So it shouldn't whiff as much anymore. This is a bug fix that they did. I didn't even know this was a thing, but they fixed the bug where you couldn't perform a special. So like you can do an offensive special while grabbing an opponent from behind.
That's crazy. Yeah, they fixed that though.
Yep. Here's another buff. They added wall bounce damage on Hao Fang's second hit, so now when you go for Hao Fang loops against the wall, you're going to be doing a lot more damage because the wall bounce is actually going to hurt the opponent now. The next two changes here are talking about his Split Fang moves. So Split Fang is his alternative defensive. It's basically his split, but he does it on the ground, and it works like a defensive special, so it has, you know, it's completely invincible and stuff like that. This now ignores weight, so this move is actually pretty decent now, I feel, in my opinion, just because of the fact that it ignores weight, and it just clears out enemies the way that it does. It's pretty good. Also, against the wall, this is actually, it has a wall bounce. So you can actually use it to combo. So do with that what you will. I'm sure people have been experimenting with that. Pretty fun move. Also, the move just looks sick, I gotta say. I love that animation for it. But the next change for Split Fangs is the wall bounce is now higher. So like I said, you're going to be able to get more consistent combos with it. Good change. Now we got to talk about Sword Upper. So Sword Upper is his alternative blitz. This move already had an OTG property anyway, so it doesn't need that change. But what it did get was it recovers faster, and it has less freeze on hit. So what this means is you're gonna be able to crowd control with this a lot easier. And what a lot of people don't know is you can actually special cancel the first hit, and you can special cancel on whiff. So you can actually use this to almost get like a sliding special offensive, which is really cool because you can't do that with Easy Punch.
You can't, and it looks like they increased the range too on it.
Yeah. So that's another thing I noticed with it. But the really cool thing is on that first hit of it, if you actually special cancel after only hitting the first hit of Sword Upper, you can actually get some really cool combos because the way the enemy flies, they actually get almost like they're floating off into space. Like I would have to probably like send a video clip of that one just because like it looks really goofy when you get it right. But other than that, those are the that's the changes for Sword Upper. Now I'm gonna talk about his Uzi Punch. So Uzi Punch got some much needed love. It now can OTG, and the OTG on Uzi Punch after experimenting with it, it's on the second hit, which I'm a little sad that it's on the second hit, but I understand because the second hit you can't special cancel the second hit. The first hit you can, which I was hoping that they would put the OTG on the first hit, but they knew better.
Adam Hunter.
They know. Now, getting an actual follow-up off this OTG,
Daddy's gotta go
I'm
to
only
work.
able to like do a follow-up I feel in the corner. And that's after I got rid of like all the wall bounces and stuff. So I think I'm gonna need like more time to experiment to see what kind of combos people are gonna get with it. But the option is there now. More OTGs, that's a good thing. We like that.
Yeah, before I wasn't able to do it like that, man.
Nope, it was not.
So that's
And he always
good.
had to use Chopper, which was such a detriment to him because Chopper takes so much team health. But it was his only that was his only consistent OTG. Now he has another one, and it's for free. The next change he got is his default air special is now invincible. So this is a really good change because air chopper was actually quite damaging, and it also had that body hit property as mentioned before. So it can actually crowd control, but now it's invincible and it has a lower hitbox. So doing instant off the ground like air choppers, I guess I would call it like instant air chopper, I'm gonna call it, where you do it as quickly as you can as soon as you jump. It's gonna be a lot more consistent at crowd controlling enemies and just being safer. That's really what it is. It's just being safer with this move because at the end of it, man, once that final hit came out, you landed in a group of enemies, you were getting hit.
Yeah, they would tearing you up.
So now that's gonna feel much better, and you should be able to actually react with a special move in the event that you would get hit now. Also, his default air special gets another cost reduction on top of the other one he got in this update too. So it gets hit twice. So it's really not going to use too much health now, which is good. We like that. Moving on, his alternative offensive special, which is that sword smash that he does. The last hit now has more depth. That's the only change it got. And to be fair, it's really the only change it needed. Because this move actually had a very consistent OCG as well. And it was also really fun to do because it had a lot of momentum to it. So unlike Hao Fang, this one kept you a lot more mobile. You weren't stuck in place. And it wasn't so lethal if you ended up whipping this attack. And for y'all survival players, fun tip, if you get Air Master, you can actually cancel out of Sword Smash while in the air to continue your combo. So, do with that info what you will. The next change is his alternative defensive. So this is his split frames. It has more active frames. It has more depth, and it hits multiple enemies. Okay. So his alternative defensive here, much better. I like that they actually like conseriously like gave this thing buzz because nobody was using it. Because
yeah, I didn't see
this
too many
move-
using that, man. They stuck to the basics with this guy most of the time.
Yeah, because the problem with this move is before the old one wasn't really that great, didn't really lead to damage, didn't really have depth, but the big one is it didn't OTG. And Adam was the only character at the time, as far as I knew, where he only had one OTG. Like one legitimate OTG, and that was his chopper, his original defensive special. So now that he has all these buffs on top of it, and his Blitz has an OTG built in with the Uzi Punch, that means no matter which Blitz you choose, you will always have an option to OTG somebody, which means you can now consider using this, which I think is slightly better than Chopper in some scenarios, because the way it just crowd controls people, bro, it's nice. You can also get some really cool combos off of it too because of its like better wall bounce now, and it hurts. This move hurts a lot. So That's his alternative special changes. I think it's a much better move. Please use this move, people. You'll be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, Adam got better. He's better, in my opinion, right? So far, he's better than the last patch. Last patch,
oh yeah, by a landslide.
Yeah, last patch they kind of hit him, man. He kind of got hit, yo. I
Yeah.
think what it was, they didn't know what to do with alternative specials. They just threw those things together, and they didn't know how to balance it out and or put it in his kit properly.
Yeah. And now they're like making it more consistent and making it flow naturally with his kit. Now that they realized the things that it was missing. There's actually 2 more changes here for Adam. These are the last 2. His throws are now lower. So what this means is when you go to follow up for his throw, it's gonna change the height whenever you land that charge attack, because I know a lot of people love to do charge attack after throwing the opponent over their shoulder. Because that's normally how we start like our combos and do loops. Because when you throw at an opponent and then you manage to catch them before they hit the ground, they actually still bounce when they do hit the ground. This is going to be a little trickier to do now in this update. However, I think the lower throw is actually better, because while you may lose some combo opportunities, your crowd control goes up way up. And I feel like people need to start like getting in that mentality now. It's not always about doing the craziest combo that you can muster to put out the most optimal damage that you can do. It's making sure that you can kill enemies at a reasonable rate while staying safe and crowd controlling. That's the name of the game.
Yeah, because the enemy's gonna be more in front of you.
Yeah. So honestly, I think this is a really good and subtle change that I'm sure with time people will come to appreciate. But the final change that Adam got is his charge attack has more depth. So what this means is your charge attacks should be a lot more consistent, and you should be able to get them out before you get interrupted. Because a lot of the times when you did charge attacks just raw trying to group enemies, sometimes people would just hit your hitbox and it was really annoying. So this should be a much more consistent move, and it should feel better to combo with because of the better in-depth that they gave it. And that's all the changes that I see for the original cast. So overall, just to sum up the original cast, I say the biggest winners are definitely Axel. Yeah, honestly, the biggest winners are basically everybody except for Blaze. I feel like Blaze like probably got like the short end of the stick in this update a little bit. But to be honest, people, she didn't really need it because she was so good already. Like
she had those infinites, a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah, and she still got him anyway.
So yeah, they did a good job with that.
She's still gonna be fine. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the order might be. I think the order might be Axel, Floyd, Adam, Cherry, then Blaze, as far as like how they benefited from this patch. You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
I definitely said the biggest winner from the original class is definitely Axel, followed by Floyd, and then Adam. Like those 3 definitely needed it the most. But now it's time to move on to the DLC section. Starting with Estelle.
So yeah, I think what are we gonna do is after it's already damn near almost 10. So what we'll do is we'll do the DLC, and then we'll continue on later on whenever you're free again.
Yeah, I should be free tomorrow.
Yeah, and I'll probably be able to do it earlier before I go to my friend's house.
Yeah. Because I was honestly, I kind of wanted to separate the retro patch side of the patch anyway, because there's a lot of changes I need to talk about specifically for those characters because they play so differently compared to any other characters in this game.
Yeah.
Because they don't play by the same rules. It's why we actually can't use them for leaderboards, which I really hope they change it. Please. Just make a retro leaderboard. So that way people that are really good with the retro characters can actually show their stuff. That's true. So hopefully they'll do that. but starting with our first DLC character here, Estelle. So I'm gonna talk about old Estelle a little bit because I know since she got introduced in the last patch, they actually didn't really talk about too many of the properties of her moves. So I'm just gonna go through like some of the ones I remember off the back of my head, and then I'll go into the change. So starting with Bootmark, the old Bootmark, I remember would have problems with hit freeze, and this was actually such a prevalent problem to the point where I would just be very careful with the way I was using it, and I would always try to special cancel it on the first hit anyway to lead into her infinites, which, by the way, Estelle still has her infinites, people. Those didn't go away. Those did not go away, and I'm very happy, very concerned, because it feels like, to me, they got easier, but I'll talk about that later. So old Bootmark, I feel like the hit freeze was the biggest issue with that move, because it was a very good regular blitz attack for her first one that you get. Really good. Good crowd control, good momentum. If you get Air Master and Survival, you could jump cancel the second hit. It was really good. Talking about her Flashbang, which is her original defensive special, the old Flashbang sucked. I'm just going to say it sucked. Its AoE sucked. Its damage was piss poor. And oh, my phone, sorry. Yeah, no, its damage was not very great. The biggest offender for me, though, was really just the hitbox on it, because you would think something as your defensive that leaves you stuck in place, that makes you invincible, would have a decent hitbox. That Flashbang was not cutting it. I remember before the update, I actually practiced with the grenade as my defensive, because that did good damage. It got people off me. Both of them OCG, but the grenade one actually had a legitimate OCG that sometimes I can combo off of, but I mostly use it to just fling people off the map. And it was also a high damaging defensive special to the point where those shield guys, I would be able to break their shield very quickly with just 2 grenades to my feet with that defensive special. So that's the old one. And then this is another old thing I remember with Estelle. Her police tackle. Nobody was using that move because that move sucked. That move,
the crowd of people forget about it, man.
You would get hit because you weren't invincible. You were not invincible. I didn't think the damage was great enough to consider using it, and Sucker Punch was just so much better that it never left my inventory once I got it. It was always on every time I played her. Her air grenade, her regular air special, this is still a really good move. The old one, actually, there's an infinite that you can do on heavy characters, or just pretty much any character in the game. But it's very execution heavy though. But essentially how it would work is you would get an enemy to the wall, then you would take Sucker Punch. I usually use Sucker Punch for this, because the only time I ever used this infinite was on stage 1, Mania Plus, on the 2 Kobus that drop down. And what I would do is I would get them perfectly aligned against the wall, because they take a minute before they start swinging. And they would walk into each other, so we're both inside of each other. I do like a basic 1, 2, 3 hit, 1, 2, 3 hit, and then I would Sucker Punch 2 hits, and then start doing 2 punches while having my back to the wall. And then I would jump in the air and immediately do an air grenade. And what would happen is the air grenade would actually launch them so high that I could do 2 punches and then do another air grenade. And as long as I got those 2 punches, I could keep this loop going infinitely until they died. And this is how I was able to full combo the first stage, as far as I could at the time, with Estelle. And it was a really good infinite. It worked on the Commissioner, it worked on the Kobus, and because the grenade actually has such a big blast radius, it was really good at shutting down any enemies that would come to interrupt this infinite.
Yeah.
Now, I will say, you have to be very careful when doing this infinite because at any point, if you mess this infinite up, you're most likely left at a one shot. So that's why I said it's very execution heavy. A really good, I'm gonna do a shout out real quick to a man that I know is very good at Estelle, Koso Dragon. Watching his Estelle was a work of art, and watching him do that infinite for the first time, he's really got that thing down. If you ever want to see how that thing is properly done in an actual like run and setting, because like I said, it's execution heavy. And if you go too fast, you'll actually end up doing the basic attack combo, or you'll just whiff the second attack. So, trust me from speaking from my experience and seeing others, this air grenade, really good move. It's also pretty good at crowd controlling, and it can OTG. So, if you wanted to safely OTG and then set up a boot mark in advance, so by the time the boot mark would come out, it would actually just launch somebody off the map. It's really good for the elevator section on stage 9. So keep that in mind, people. Good stuff. And this is just old list though, from what I remember. But now I'll get to the part where people want to hear it. I'll start with the new changes now. So the first thing that I'm gonna mention, because I don't see like, did they ever mention this in this update? Let me see. Let's go through this. No, they did not. I'm gonna mention it because I think they forgot to say it in the actual notes. So, Estelle's basic attack combo is now much faster. I don't know why they made this attack so much faster, but it is basically impossible for an enemy to interrupt Estelle when she's doing her basic attack combo now, even in like decent crowds and groups of enemies, because of how fast the chain is. So that's a really good change. And the fact that they actually increased her combo damage means she is killing so much quicker now. Like, I think Estelle, honestly, has the potential to be one of the best characters in the game now. But, I'll talk about another change. So, this is gonna be a little different. So, old Estelle, I remember a lot of people, we got really good at doing the charge attack loops. Where we would just, like, loop charge attack into charge attack. So, they changed the way her properties are on her charge attack now. And it's also going to affect the combo ender, so I'm just going to keep it in the same change. They adjusted it so it doesn't loop into itself, so you can't just do basic attack combo into itself over and over and over again. However, what you can do, after experimenting with this as soon as it came out, is you can still do a charge attack afterwards, and if you have enough room, you might be able to get away with doing another basic attack chain, but you have to be very, very quick because it's a 1 frame link now. So if you don't hit that 1 frame, you're not going to get the second loop again. So just keep that in mind. And because the way they changed her charge attack properties and it affected her ender, the enemy now like almost gets like slammed into the ground when she does the little somersault flip. So it's gonna adjust combos. It's gonna take time for people to get used to it. I've already discovered some new combos and a much more easier infinite setup with this new update that I'll probably like put out at some point, just so people know and see that, hey, this is something you can do now. I will say the combo 5th hit, which I do see this in this change, so I'm going to read it out here now. The wall attack damage has been increased, and more importantly, it seems like the wall bounce from the 5th attack has been adjusted. And this is important because you can cancel into a blitz and then cancel the first part of her blitz immediately, which then allows you to basically get rid of all the wall bounces very, very quickly on an enemy and then go straight into her infinite. because her infinite is still there with her jump kick and to jumping down attack.
Yeah.
Because her jumping neutral attack just keeps enemies so high up that she can just keep doing that loop infinitely over and over. But that only works on regular body weight enemies. On the heavy enemies, after a certain point, it just drops. So that's still there. They adjusted the third punch in her combo to push less. And the big thing is it stuns much more. So this is a really good consistency change. And actually, because it stuns so much more, before you would only be able to get 2 loops of her first 3 hits in her chain. So you do like hit, 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 hit. Now you can do it 3 times. And then you can just let the combo fly on the 3rd time to get maximum damage. And because of all the combo change, all the combo like damage buffs, she is going to basically, I can almost kill a Kobu off of 1 combo in Mania Plus, but it's very, very hard to do so due to his body weight. But the possibility is there now. So that's really, really good. It's also really good against bosses because that can start her TOD combos and stuff like that. So I'm sure people are going to really enjoy that change. So I think the biggest changes so far to like just her basic attack in general is the speed increase. That speed increase is insane.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the fastest.
I don't know if she needed that. I don't know, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because like before, I felt like her basic attack chain was already pretty decent as is.
You know what I'm starting to notice with a lot of these patches, though? A lot of these patches or some of these buffs, they do it based off, and a lot of games is like this. They do it based off of like the mass majority complaining about something, you know, rather than, you know, the hardcore people actually knowing how to utilize these characters. So they probably sped her up because people were complaining about her speed and how she would die. Because I know I had a friend who doesn't really frequent this game that much, and when he was playing with Estelle, like he will burn a lot of his he would like basically he'll get himself to like a lot of green health to where it's like almost a one shot, and he would like automatically think Estelle is trash because she wouldn't use her normals. He'll just use a lot of her grenades and all sorts of things like that. But that's not how you're supposed to use her.
Oh yeah, no. Estelle, I think one of Estelle's strongest properties is her normals. Her normals are some of the best normals in the because of all these changes that they got. They come out fast, they hit hard, they crowd control on their own without even needing specials, and the specials just add a flavor text to it at that point. Like it's insane. Moving on to the next change. So this is talking about her charge attack. So this is a nerf. Her charge attack cannot be linked with itself. However, I did talk about how you can basically almost get around that change. So as long as you are quick enough, you can attempt to try to get a basic attack combo after hitting the charge attack.
I mean, she has other stuff that she can link it up with anyway. That was kind of cheesy anyway.
Yeah, that was cheesy. I'm just saying, like, it's still there, and you can still do it. It's just harder to do. But now the reward you get from it is greater, which I think I'm fine with. I'd rather something hard to do give me good reward when I do it. That's the incentive there. So
yeah, it's like a little delay after it.
Yeah. So that's been dealt with. However, to compensate for it, these are 2 very important buffs. The first one being charge attack now does more damage. Giving Estelle more damage. Questionable. I'll accept it. Thank you. Do I think it was needed? No. But hey, take what you can get. I'm not gonna complain about that.
Yeah, they giving her a lot.
The big change to this move now is her charge attack can now be canceled by a special move. And what this means is on whiff or on hit, because I have tested both. On whiff, you can just immediately throw out whatever air grenade you have. And this is really good because now on her basic attack chain, on that fourth, not the fourth, but on the fifth hit, like when she starts doing the slam, just like her charge attack, you can throw a grenade now. And this is really good for crowd control, and I'll bring this up later because there's another move that I want to talk about that I feel like people are they're really sleeping on. Because I did a run today, and I actually broke my personal best on my Mania Plus run. I almost got an 800,000 score run with Estelle today. Because I was utilizing this new change. So it's really, really good. Please utilize that. Get used to doing that cancel, because it might actually save your life, but it'll also help you crowd control enemies a lot easier and safely.
Mm-hmm.
So the next change, this is a really big one. Her back attack. Estelle already had one of the best back attacks in the game because it actually didn't knock enemies down and it kept them grouped at such a perfect distance. Now, her back attack does more damage. And when I mean more damage, I mean a lot more damage. Like, this thing hits. It has no reason to be hitting that hard.
Yeah, it takes 16 damage.
Yeah.
That's a lot for a back attack. Back attacks are mainly just supposed to be, what's the word for it? Not getting the person off of you, but more so just checking the person.
Yeah, and they're mostly used for grouping because a tactic that really good players have been doing in Mania Plus, and I've been utilizing a lot myself, is enemy AI will change if your back is towards an enemy. So the easiest way to actually test this, if you put a if you put a Dylan in the training room and just set him to like any difficulty. I usually just set it to Mania Plus, right? When you're looking at Dylan, he tries to be evasive. He doesn't really try to like fight you. But the minute you turn your back away from him, he starts homing in on you very slowly, but he aligns himself perfectly with you. And what players would do, especially against him, because it's like one of the best ways to fight like groups of Dylans, any variant really, is they would back attack. And now that Estelle's back attack does so much damage, she kills these guys so fast. Like, it's unbelievable. Like, I don't even really have to go basic attack chain. I could just back attack him to death, even on like Mania Plus. It's a lot of damage. And where this shines a lot is, I'll use another stage example that's actually in-game. On stage 5 and the underground sewer, there is a section that has these hazards where the gas is coming out of the wall and it's blasting a bunch of Dylans and Kevins and stuff. So when you get to that section after clearing out the, like all the rubies and garnets and stuff in the Donovans, you can just turn around with Estelle. They'll all group up perfectly, like literally all
like
fighting each other, and just back attack them to death. And they don't have much health. So you'll just immediately kill them and you'll be able to move on from that section much quicker than most other characters, because most other characters' back attacks, they knock them down, they fling them all over the place. So the fact that she got this buff, it's insane. Like, I honestly, I don't know what they were thinking.
Yeah, she was already kind of crazy.
Yeah, because she was already one of the better characters for that section anyway. But now she doesn't even have to commit. And if at any point she feels threatened because it's an actual normal attack, you can just special cancel into any special move.
I think they sped her up too a bit.
Yeah. They sped her way up.
Honestly, I think globally they probably sped up a lot of characters. I'm assuming. That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
To me.
Yeah, no, they did. I did notice that. So yeah, back attack damage massively increased. That people, please use the back attack. And what's really cool is during the back attack, you can actually buffer a charge attack. So right before that last one knocks them down, or if it does knock them down, you can get a full combo. So please use that. It's really, really good. So besides the massive back attack buff, boot mark damage has been increased.
Oh, man.
Don't know why they did that, but hey, I'll take it. It was already a great move. It just got better. No downside. Flying Scythe. Now, this is his alternative voice attack, and I didn't actually see people use this one much. I actually use both voices like pretty evenly. I think I prefer Bootmark just because it's a little more consistent / safer. However, Flying Scythe actually does have some pretty interesting and fun combos that you can do. And it also, just like the, what's it called? The charge attack, can actually, here, let me do it real quick for myself, just so I can remember.
You can actually cancel it too.
Yeah, so in the air, right before that second attack comes out, you can throw a grenade, even on whip.
Mm-hmm.
So
you have a good, really fun to you have a decent window of opportunity to cancel it.
And the nice thing about Flying Scythe too is, unlike Bootmark, it can actually lead into itself if it hits raw. And then you can buffer a charge attack and almost get like this Flying Scythe charge attack loop going. And it's really good because the wall parry on this thing is insane. So we got that going on. And what's nice about this move too is that they also did a little visual update. They added a special effect to the end of Flying Scythe now that was missing.
They didn't have that before, for sure.
They did not have that before, 100%. Another buff that I don't understand why she got it, because this move I thought was already busted, but Sucker Punch damage has been increased. I don't know why it's been increased. Well, once again, we take that. We take those buffs. And this is the move I want to shout out to Estelle players right now. We all love and use it, and it leads to infinite. The infinite is still there. So do with that what you will. The next change is her neutral jump attack has a better hitbox now. And this is actually the attack that you need to initiate the infinite against the wall. Against certain like enemies.
Yeah, you're talking about that little rising knee, right?
Yep, that rising knee, and then you just do a down attack on your way down, and then you just jump again and do another rising knee, and you just keep doing those two moves and a rhythm. And once you get the rhythm down, it's probably one of the easiest infinites in the game. And what's funny is, I think they tried to get rid of it because that's why they made like the combo attack changes, because old Estelle could set that up pretty much anytime she wanted to. Because of the way her attacks looped into each other. Now you have to put a little bit more effort into it, but it's not really that much more effort, if I'm gonna be brutally honest. Because I still managed to figure that out on day one of the patch. Like, it was no problem at all. And if anything, it just made my neutral game better when I had to do that rising knee against other enemies anyway. So they tried to stop the infinite. They just ended up making it better, which I find really funny. So, do with that what you will. The next change, her grab neutral attack damage has been increased. So this is when she has them in that little headlock. The damage on that has now been increased quite a bit. Pretty decent
Jesus
damage.
Christ.
What's it called? So, besides the pummel being decent, that grab neutral attack, when she just launches them and she's like, eat this, yeah, that is faster from what I'm seeing, because they definitely did not feel that good before. And let's see, all these other changes. So, the wall bounce, this is the one I really want to talk about. So, if we get an enemy to the wall, you do that attack against the wall bounce you get is so much better now. Like, they basically get frozen there. And because they get frozen there, you can once again set up the infinite very easily with Bootmark. And you can get a basic attack combo, which leads into big damage against the wall. So you got that going on. And the
Yeah, a lot
other
of stuff.
thing that's really nice is it has longer active frames and a much bigger hitbox, which means using it as an actual crowd control tool, which I feel like that was the original intent of the move when I first saw it anyway. It's now actually able to do that. So when you get a crowd of enemies and you don't want to just throw the enemy like you've been doing because that was the better option at the time, you can just use that neutral attack. And it's going to crowd control enemies pretty decently now, while doing a pretty decent chunk of damage. Good change. Now, here comes my favorite changes. And this is why these are my favorite changes. So, the grenades. I will start with the flashbang variants first. Keep in mind, all the changes I'm going to mention are going to affect both versions of the flashbang. So I'll start with this one. Flashbang now has a bigger hitbox. This was the biggest complaint that I was complaining about for the longest time, and was the reason why I never used it before that much, because while I know it actually led to an infinite, I didn't think it was worth it because it just didn't do what I needed a defensive special to do. Now, it has a much bigger hitbox. It has a much longer stun. Like, a flashbang stun lasts forever. It's so much time now with a flashbang that if I throw it into a crowd of enemies, I have more than enough time to walk up to an enemy, position them where I want, and then throw them before anybody reacts. I basically could just put enemies on pause mode while I go do my thing real quick. So that's a really, really good change. And what's really nice about it is it has more active frames as well. So now, Flashbang went from a mediocre move to probably one of the best crowd control moves in the entire game. And I don't say that very lightly.
Yeah. I mean,
Because
shoot, it's
all
a
those changes-
flashbang. It's a grenade, man. You little flash grenade. Come on. You expect.
Right. But all those changes I mentioned, we're now going to apply that to the air variant of Flashbang as well, which is actually the alternative air special. So, on top of it getting the increased stun duration, the green health that this move used to take has now been decreased. So you can now use this more. And my favorite change to it all is you now have air control while doing these grenades in the air. So you can actually determine how far Estelle goes when she does her backflip. So if you hold forward while throwing her grenade, the air control will put you very close, as close as you can possibly get to the enemy. But if you hold back during it, she really goes back. Like she is flipping away from everybody. And it could be a good get out of jail free card in case you want to get out of a bad situation. It just depends on what you feel like doing with the air control now. So that is an amazing change. And I feel like it's really, really good because it just really lets you take control of how you want to pace out the encounter, whatever you may be doing. And this leads into the fire grenades. So the fire grenades got similar changes. Fire grenades now also have a larger hitbox. They now launch higher, and they have an added wall bounce.
That's nuts.
So the fire grenade is her alternative defensive special. It's the one I used to use in the older version of her. This is now much more lethal. I don't really think I really need to talk much more about this. Use this move, it's great. The air version of it, which is her defensive air special, her regular one. The grenade damage has been increased. Life cost has been reduced, so you can use it more, and it also gets the same air control change. I really, really like what they did with these grenades. I think people need to start using them more. Especially, I was honestly shocked how good air flashbang has gotten now. I would actually argue that air flashbang could be better than the fire grenade, and a lot more scenarios than the fire grenade could be. The only scenario I can think of that the fire grenade is really good at now is for doing that infinite I was talking about earlier, really. But other than that, I think the air flashbang just beats it out in every other regard because it's just that good. It's very good in survival. It's extremely good in Mania Plus because Mania Plus there isn't much room for enemies to really move around because there's so much like enemy density.
Yeah, man.
So it's really, really good, and it shuts down a lot of the problematic enemies that would like shoot you. So like enemies throwing projectiles, because that's the other thing that air flashbang is really, really good for. Is unlike the fire grenade, it doesn't knock these enemies down, which is actually important because you can either get a full combo after hitting one, or you prevent an enemy from doing an annoying action. So like, you know the Vile Girls, and they throw their projectiles, and it does a lot of damage, and they're annoying, and they're always evading you. Well, if you throw an air flashbang at them, you put them on pause for quite a bit, long enough for you to easily catch up to them, or just prevent them from throwing a projectile at you.
Does it give enough? Does it give the same amount of stun as ground flashbang or no? More. Looks like about the same, right?
Now.
Let me see.
They're basically the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're the same. That's why I'm very happy that flashbang got buffed the way it did, because both versions essentially function the same on the air and on the ground. And I really think it's the air version that's just so good, because like I said, remember how I was talking about the charge attack that you can do, and you can flip and then cancel it immediately? This is where this comes in, because now during your basic attack chain, say like you got too many enemies, you know you might get hit. On that 5th hit, you can just throw a flashbang out and pause all the enemies while OTGing the enemy on the ground. Now the OTG that the flashbang does isn't actually going to lead to anything, which is where the fire grenade beats it out. However, it at least causes an enemy to take damage, because you gotta also remember the flashbang does do damage, and it does a fair amount of damage. It ain't the greatest, but it does a fair amount of damage and can help you get kills on groups of enemies much quicker, because now that they're still standing up.
That's a decent amount of damage, man.
Yeah.
For a flashbang, something that's supposed to stun people, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like, doing this to a crowd of enemies, you'll be able to do quite a bit of damage to that crowd of enemies before you even get started with your combos and stuff to kill them all. So what ends up happening with Estelle now is she just gets to do this really aggressive, quick playstyle with very precise crowd control, thanks to flashbang and her air control options, coupled up with the fact that she got all the buffs to her basic attack combo, more damage, more in-depth, and I haven't even talked about the other changes that she got too, which I'm about to get into now. So, I'm gonna take a minute. I'll save her star move for last, because her star move's got quite a few changes. So I'm gonna talk about the next special move. So Police Tackle. Police Tackle is finally getting buffed. I know it took them forever, but it's finally being buffed. The first change is Police Tackle is now completely invincible while you're on top of the enemy, and the duration has been increased.
Damn.
And the big thing about it is Police Tackle does mad damage.
I don't know if I agree with that, man. I don't know if it should be invincible the whole entire time you're on the enemy, bro. That's kind of...
See, that's the thing. At first, I was a little skeptical about it being completely invincible to enemies the entire time when you're on top of them. But I did notice that at the end, when you do the final punch, and that red shockwave comes out, which by the way can also OTG people. The minute that red shockwave comes out, you're no longer invincible, and you have that one frame where you're recovering. And trust me when I say, I have been hit during that one frame before. So it's not like the move is completely free now, but you can use it more.
What I would have done is I probably would have just shrunk the hurt box.
Yeah, I probably would have done that too, but the fact that it's fully invincible now is wild.
Yeah,
it also does way more damage now.
Yeah, that's kind of wild, boy.
The red shockwave OTGs. So that move got much better. The other thing that happens now is the AoE punch is the same AoE punch that comes out no matter what, regardless if you do the maximum amount of hits or not. And I think this is a change that people need to pay attention to the most for those who are going to use Police Tackle, because Police Tackle has a few properties. So I'm just going to go over that. I know Patches doesn't mention it, but I'm just going to explain the move to people. So how Police Tackle works: when you grab an enemy, they go a set distance. And if there are any other enemies in the way as you grab this one enemy, they will be hit and they will. So it's a good crowd control ability as well. Got that going on. The next thing is how Police Tackle actually works. So when you grapple an enemy and you get on top of them and start beating them down, you have a set duration to hit the punch button as many times as you can before the red shockwave punch comes out and slams into the ground. What you can do is you can alter the timing so that when the shockwave comes out, it'll interrupt enemies in such a way where you'll be safe, that you won't have to use a special move while getting up to keep yourself safe. So what Estelle players are going to have to do now, if you so choose to use this move, really get down that timing of being able to alternate with these punches on the ground. Because not only do they do a lot of damage, like I said, that last AoE hit, it can OTG, but can also get you in a really good situation to where you can keep enemies clumped up so well because of the way that it just hits in areas. And the final thing is, remember how she's invincible for the entire thing now? Well, you can alter the timing of the invincibility. And how you alter it is very simple. You just choose how many punches you want to do when you got an enemy grabbed on the ground. Because regardless of what happens, the red AoE shockwave comes up every time. If you just do Police Tackle on its own and not punch, she'll just immediately punch the ground one time, get up, and then she'll be moving again. Whereas you press X a couple of times, then she'll start delaying, and the duration will start increasing as you do more actions. The most amount of punches I'm able to get is just from a raw Police Tackle seems to be about 7. So you can't do any more than 7 because the 7th hit is the AoE shockwave. So what I would do is, if you're gonna be serious about using this move in Mania Plus, where there's a bunch of enemies surrounding you all the time,
you have to
get used to manipulating that timing, because if you get good at that, you'll be able to handle pretty much any situation with this move, because it's that good. So, got that going on. Massive buff for Police Tackle. I think people should start using it more. The next special move change I'm going to talk about here, because I'm going to talk about the star move later, is her heel kick has more range. So, how do I explain this heel kick move? It's a little weird. Let me see. So, I think the heel kick that they're referring to is, I think that's what they call her charge attack, is the heel kick. I think that's what they call it. So,
yes, so he says that it's big.
Yeah, so this has more range now, and you'll notice it because you can actually control how far it goes.
Yeah, you just gotta release it and then hold back.
She really goes forward, but if you hold back during it, she goes close. And if you don't do anything, she just goes her normal distance. But as you can tell, she really can get some distance with this. And it's actually really important because one of those quick ways of moving with Estelle is doing a forward jumping attack, holding it down so you buffer the charge attack, and then as soon as you do a barrel roll, let the charge attack fly, and you get big momentum, and it's like Estelle can move quickly across the map. And then if you start incorporating her offensive special into the mix, you can fly across the map in the blink of an eye. So these options keep her highly mobile, which is kind of insane for a character that has so much damage now.
Mm-hmm.
And now, another change, her boot mark, which is her default blitz, this has less freeze, which is good because that means it's going to be much better at crowd controlling. This solves the problem I had with it before in the past. And her alternative air special, which is the air flashbang, this does more damage, which means this also applies to the regular flashbang as well. So that's all the special moves. Now I'm going to talk about the star moves. So I'm going to start with the police call. This is a very nice quality of life change. The player version of Estelle's police call now has blue crosshairs when you call it in. And this is very important because if you end up having the Estelle mirror match.
Oh yeah, they kind of labeled it to
yeah, so the blue circles are your explosions. If you see a red circle, get out of the way.
And I think it's like that for whoever's seen it from their screen. So if I'm on my screen, I'm playing another Estelle, then it's gonna be blue on my screen. If it's if it's on your screen, it'll be blue for you, red for me, right?
Yes, it is. It's blue for both people. So now what this means is your friendly Estelle, whenever she does her backup requested, her little police call, you will always know which explosions are friendly because of the blue crosshairs. So you shouldn't be getting confused anymore when you have an Estelle mirror match.
Yeah, that was ridiculous, man.
Because that was annoying, because you would never be able to tell. If you actually did police call, when she did police call, that was it. That's a wrap, bro. You're probably gonna get hit by an explosion you can't even see. And now for surgical strike. Now this, I'm very happy to say that this surgical strike got heavily buffed. I think it's a much better star move now. So the first change they did is the surgical strike now has a much better hitbox. It has a better juggle, and the spawn combat knife that she ends up with lasts longer, which is good because this combat knife does quite a bit of damage and it's quite fast. And because it's a knife, Estelle actually has a special blitz attack when she uses knife-like weapons. She does like this double stab with it. So these are really good changes. And what's really funny is because of the way the new surgical strike works, you can actually get a free combo afterwards with it. So you do surgical strike, shank, and then you can buffer a charge attack to OTG enemies off the ground to continue the combo after the surgical strike if you haven't used your OTG already. And what's really nice, it's actually an extremely good combo ender after something like a police tackle, because the police tackle launches enemies just high enough to where you can surgical strike them to launch them up even higher and then continue your combo. So you can get mad damage off of this super now, and considering it's her only special that actually can interrupt like armor like on the spot immediately, because her other police call, while better in more scenarios, actually struggles against bosses if you're trying to interrupt them out of their super armor or their second phase charge up that they like to do. So surgical strike is really, really good now, and like I said before, that combat knife that she gets, that thing does mad damage. It can actually be used to alleviate certain scenarios that could be problematic. So like, if I keep getting star moves over and over, I could essentially just spawn free weapons for me and my teammate to use. So it's gonna be a pretty decent option. And now with Estelle, I can actually just have a long-range weapon pretty much on demand whenever, because you got to keep in mind the knife still comes out even if you whiff the attack. So if you really needed a weapon for whatever reason and you couldn't find one, just pull out your alternative star and then you're set. So that's a really good change, and I'm happy that they buffed this move the way that they did. That should be it for all of Estelle's changes. Overall, I think she is actually the new broken character of this patch. I really do believe that.
She probably is, but I think she still, the thing is though, I think she still has like a learning curve behind her. Mainly because the way she moves, and she's not a straightforward character, you know?
Right.
You look like you still gotta be crafty with her.
Oh yeah, because like you still gotta be execution heavy. What I love about this version of Estelle now is the crowd control mixed with the executions that you can do because of all your new special cancels leads to some really interesting combos, but also leads to a lot more consistent crowd control, which I love because I was already pretty decent at playing Estelle. But now it's on like almost like Shiva levels of like Estelle now. Like what old Shiva is kind of doing, because of the fact that it's just the way she moves now. She's so much more fluid. Her specials feel a lot more natural. The damage buffs are insane. Like there's so many good quality of life changes for her in this update that I feel like she just benefits so much. But that's Estelle's changes. Estelle players, you're gonna be eating. Trust me, because I know I'm eating now. It's really, really good. Go, Estelle. You're gonna have a good time.
We're gonna do Max. You know, save the best for last, man.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna do Max next. Max, I'm gonna be a little quicker on just because he is actually one of the few characters I didn't play too much. But having watched other people, I can at least give like a little bit of insight on these.
I think he's just not nothing but buff, to be honest with you. From what I remember.
So, Max. Fixed the last hit of his combo attack, hitting twice, and now has a proper ground slam. So this is going to actually affect his basic attack infinite. I don't think that infinite is there anymore. You're still going to get a lot of damage from this basic attack, but don't expect the infinite.
Which one? You talking about his ground, his charge?
Yeah, so like when he does his basic attack chain, he does like this like slam forward with both his hands like connected, right?
Yeah, on the floor.
And now if I can get an enemy to the wall real quick. Get him over there. There we go. So before this would just usually just be like an infinite. I don't know if this... Yeah, it seems like I got affected from what I'm seeing, because I'm only getting 2 roots now. Because before, it would actually never ground bound. So, the second to last hit would actually launch the opponent up, which meant that his basic attack chain was an infinite. Or like almost like a pseudo-infinite, if I even want to call it that. Now, you get 3 ground bounce repetitions before you have to do something different. But it's still really, really good damage.
Well, you can still kind of get infinite from it, but you can't do it by itself though. Only.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think they incorporate a charge attack in there during the loop. But
yeah, he's faster too.
Yeah. His charge attack now has a much bigger hitbox. This is a good change because he is one of the few people, just like Estelle, where his charge attack can actually OTG.
Yeah, not 2 people could do that.
Yeah. So that's a really good change I just got there. The next change is actually a nerf. I'm sorry for you Max players, but the back attack infinite is now gone.
Oh, poor babies.
Yeah, you can't just do back attack against the wall and just have that be an infinite. Because on the
Nope.
second back attack, it actually launches them to the ground now. So that's gone. And another nerf is Vortex Vacuum. This is a big one. I know a lot of
Yeah.
max players love Vortex Vacuum because it's a broken move. This
Anthroplasm,
move
you
has
type.
been hit. Yeah, it has been hit. Your Vortex Vacuum now costs more health, and it vacuums less. What this means is if you're going to use Vortex Vacuum now, you need to actually be calculated when you're going to use it. You can't just spam it now to make up for any mistakes. You have to be intelligent with your move usage now
Yeah,
when using
yeah.
Vortex Vacuum. It's no longer free. Now, spinning Knuckle Bomb, which is the default version of his defensive, has gotten better. It lasts longer, it got additional hits, it travels farther,
Uh-huh.
and it's more juggle friendly. I honestly think this is going to be the one that people are going to use anyway. Before it was a lot more sporadic in the older update. I didn't really like it because the way it was just juggling people was really bad. So, yeah, I'm glad that they buffed that. It was a much needed buff for that move. Now, the Air Thunder Strikes, this is his alternative special. The Lightning Strike itself will strike 3 times in a line. So, I'm just gonna see this for myself, because like I said, I haven't played Max like that in a very long time.
Which one you said, no?
So
Thunder?
this is his defensive air special. It's his alternative one.
Thunder Strike.
Oh, that's so sick. Yep, so now when you do it, it causes 3 lightning strikes, and it happens in a line.
Oh, wow.
And the lightning strikes move forward.
It wasn't like that before.
And they seem to have quite the juggle property too on them. Look at that. That's
Yeah,
pretty good,
it wasn't like that before.
Right.
Wow, okay.
That's actually a really cool change. Because now, what I'm seeing is you can actually get a rolling grab after that, probably. But I'll have to experiment with that later. That's a really good change, though. I'm sure you guys are gonna enjoy that. Now, his defense, not alternative, my bad. His default air special now has a better air control and has a better hitbox. So if I, let's not move like that. That's the body slam. Oh yeah, you can actually control it a lot more now. Yeah, that's good. You can actually like hit people with that a little more easily. Speaking of which, Body Slam now also has, like I said, better air control, but it also has better recovery. So that's really good. His alternative Blitz Clothesline now has a body hit, and anytime I see body, that means like it's probably gonna be like crazy cog control. So that's good. Power Slide, Spinning Knuckle Bomb, Thunder Tackle, all now have less hit stop. So that means that Max is going to finish his move without pausing on a bunch of the enemies that he hits in it, which is really good, especially for something like Sliding Tackle, because good lord, hitting multiple enemies with Sliding Tackle,
that was a nightmare.
it got pretty bad. Yeah, it would just when you're way too long, you would get hit.
Yeah, like
So
I
it was
said,
a really, really good
they
move.
sped up a lot of these characters, man.
Yeah. Oh, the next change that they did is the rolling grab now deals low damage on its path. However, you now have less invincibility frames with it. So you have to be precise with your rolling grabs. You can't just spam it anymore. But to make up for this, they actually give you a little hit. Let me see. I'm gonna see just how consistent this little hit is, if it even there. Yep, there is a little hit. So during the dodge roll itself, there is a little hit, and that's actually nice because if that hit hits, you get a very consistent grab off of it, and we all know Max's grabs are some of the most damaging in the entire game. So it's good that you can get that very easily. Now, I'm going to talk about his only star move change, and this is the final change for him. But Iron Will, this is the one where he shouts and he gets the super armor. So it is now, the end of it is much more noticeable. So you know when you can be interrupted again by stuff. But the other big change to entice people to actually use this star move now is Max deals 20% more damage.
Damn.
And he has 20% more speed while he's under Iron Will.
Damn. Why would they do that? That's nuts.
I don't know, but what this means now is Max has the potential to basically insta-kill bosses like they're nothing. I don't understand, like, why? just why?
He's already
like,
bodying bosses
so
like
unnecessary. And you gotta remember too, like, you can actually cancel into Iron Will during a combo and then make that combo hurt more. So it's really crazy change. Also, in case you're wondering how they made the end of Iron Will more noticeable, is they added a red lightning effect that appears when it's getting close to its end.
Mm-hmm.
So that's your visual indicator, for those who don't know. Other than that, that's the last of the Max changes. Some slight nerfs here and there. But the buffs that he got are just ridiculous. I really don't think people are gonna be upset about where he's landed right now. I think Max is still very, very good, still extremely top tier of the character. And in the hands of somebody that knows what they're doing, can still very easily destroy people. So, got that going on. That brings us to our final character,
For the night
which is gonna be the
Shiva.
man, the legend, Shiva.
Oh boy.
Let me find his notes. This is gonna be crazy. Now, I'm gonna start off with a statement because I want people to understand where Shiva lives now. Because before, we all know how broke he was, and we all knew he was going to get nerfed. I will say this now as somebody who main Shiva is very, very good with him. The nerfs did nothing.
They just changed his routes, man.
They changed his routes, but they actually buffed him. And I'll show you that here in a second. So, the first change. Final Crash is now much faster. It does much more damage, and it has less recovery. And if that wasn't enough for you, it now also has a new launch property. So I'll go over that launch property very quick so people understand. When you do Final Crash, the enemy gets launched relatively quite high, and you see Shiva recovers so quick now. So what ends up happening is you get a free air combo off of any Final Crash that hits raw. And by the way, people, there's a new Shiva Infinite in the game. Face was trying to do it earlier. And you can do it off of pretty much any launcher, but especially Final Crash's launcher, because it launches them so high now. And you recover so quick. So, that change alone is ridiculous. And it's why I kept telling people as a Shiva player, when this update comes, you need to know how to use Final Crash.
But
not the flying kick.
Yo, the crazy thing is, me and my boy, we was talking about Final Crash, right? People were complaining, saying it's not good, like you get punished. But the problem was that they didn't understand that move, that Final Crash actually had it still had iframes on it when you landed. You just had to you had to be quick with it basically.
Yep. And guess what? The change I just read with Final Crash, there was no nerf to the invincibility frames. So now that you recover quicker, and you get a free combo with using no special, by the way.
Hold on. So they made they made the iframe. They gave more iframes on Final Crash.
Yeah, because I can essentially do Final Crash into Final Crash and not be interrupted. I don't even really have to use a special when I land too much on the ground to keep myself safe after a raw Final Crash or just like Final Crash or a combo. Man. Yeah, it's a really disgusting move now. And when I say that this move does damage, it does damage. And buffing Shiva to do more damage is a very dangerous thing to do. So, that's just the first change. The second change I'm going to talk about is one of the nerfs he received. The first one being his flying kick. His flying kick now does less damage, it now has less invincibility, and it has more recovery. Just the short version of it, it's now a worse move, but to be really honest, no one's going to care about this move now that Final Crash is as good as it is. Like, yeah. I don't see a reason to not use Final Crash now, because Final Crash checks off so many things. It's a good launcher, it's a good reversal, has iframes,
hella damage,
to infinite, can OTG,
have hella damage.
Yeah, and damage. It's just better than flying kick in every way. Like, for anyone who's sad about the flying kick nerf, it's okay. You will be okay. Trust me.
I think it was just the fact that a lot of people, they worry whenever their character go airborne, they feel that they're going to get punished. But as we said before, Final Crash has all of these different buffs to it that you won't have to worry about getting punished when you land. You won't have to be as tight. Your timing wouldn't be your timing doesn't have to be as tight as it did before they buffed it.
So that's why I was always telling any Shiva players before this update came out, practice your Final Crash. It's going to be very good later down the line. And even before and the previous update where Shiva came out, it was still a disgusting move anyway, because guess what? Old Final Crash could be canceled with any air special move, but specifically Spirit Kick with old Final Crash led to the easiest infinite that was so good, it worked on heavy enemies. But I'll talk more about that later when we get to the air specials. Next change, this is another nerf. Spirit Palm. You knew it was coming. Spirit Palm now has less invincibility and more recovery. It is now a slower move. Is this move still broken? Yes, it is, because it's still a move that allows Shiva to do an invincible move and then move away. Name me one other character that can continue a combo the way he can with Spirit Palm and move away. He has ample time because Spirit Palm's stun is so long.
It's crazy.
Like, it's ridiculous.
Didn't they nerf just the I remember there was a bug where you was able to get your life back or something like that easier, or it didn't take that much green life or something like that before they put this patch. Did they fix that? So I remember people was cheesing that. They were cheesing that in survival mode.
Yep, they sure did. That's actually one of the survival changes I was going to mention, but I guess I could talk about it now. So, Shiva clone specials, they do not heal. This includes Spirit Kick and Spirit Palm. However, the clone star move, that one still does the healing. So, Shiva is the only character in this game that can still heal with a star move that easily without needing the tactical rocket buff. Um, so you guys still have that healing. So consider yourself lucky because they could have took that one too, but they were nice enough to spare you and they didn't. Now, the next change is the one that is really like selling this patch for me for Shiva, and why I'm still keeping him in my list of characters that I play, like exclusively. So, back attack. Back attack now has a new follow-up launching kick. So how does this perform is very easy. You just do a back attack and you just hit the attack button afterwards, and Shiva will do his combo ender launching kick. And the reason why this is such a very good but also very subtle change is that little kick at the end that he does is jump cancelable, it's dash cancelable, it's special move cancelable, it's star moves cancelable. It leads to everything. But more importantly, it's responsible for the new infinite that is now in the game. Because how you do this infinite, I'm going to teach you how to do an infinite. So, how to do this infinite. Very simple. You take your enemy. You can do this pretty much off of any launcher. But the way I learned it was just doing his basic attack combo, which is his 4 hits that ends with the little launching kick, right? So, you do that, you end the combo with the launching kick at the end, and that launching kick has the same properties as the one of the back attack, where you can dash, special cancel, and jump. So what you do is you do the 4 hits, hit, 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 and then you dash past the enemy, and as you reach the end of your dash, you do a back attack into the back attack extension. So you just do back attack, and then hit the attack button again. And now you have them at the perfect height to where you can dash again and do another back attack and keep the loop going. And once you get the rhythm down, this infinite can be done at the middle of the screen, no wall fired, as long as you're fast enough. It's ridiculous. And when I actually, what's really funny is when the update came out for this, I ended up discovering this move by mistake. And once I discovered it, I immediately went to town labbing it, and it had infinite within the first 3 minutes of me labbing this move. Because I realized the way that it launches keeps the enemy afloat without actually launching them away. Like, that kick that he does at the end is so much better.
He wasn't able to do that before.
Yup.
He had a lot of startup after. He had a lot of startup after the back attack.
Yep, he did, but now that he has this attack extension and he can jump cancel it and or dash cancel it or special move cancel it, the possibilities are endless. Like, I have a mid-screen infinite with this guy, I have a wall infinite that works on any character in the game, using his default moveset, by the way, so you don't even need to unlock extra moves to do this infinite. It's ridiculous. This one little change broke him. So while he may have gotten the nerf that he did, his normals, his final crash, and he still has the ridiculous air combos that he can do, unlike any other character, the dude is eating this patch. And I'm not even done with his patch notes yet, because he's got more buffs. So...
yeah, he's crazy.
I'll start with an actual nerf, though. Air Suretsu 10, so that's the little after image thing he does in the air. Which, by the way, that also leads to an infinite against the wall because of the new back attack. This now has more recovery when you do it lower to the ground. Because before, people were just not getting punished when they did that in a crowd of enemies. It was really wild. Now you just gotta be a little bit more careful. It's still a really good move. What else? Oh yeah, so his alternative defensive special, the Hasensho. So it's like that little 2 palm attack that he does, and he does like the little slam with his feet as well, instead of his flames circular kick or whatever. So Hasensho basically got a new property now, and it launches enemies far, and it can wall bounce. And this move is really good because I can see a couple sections a part of the main game during an arcade run where you can actually kill groups of enemies very quickly using this move because of the way that it launches them. Keep in mind that this move is also an OTG. And now that it has a new OTG property like that where it just launches them so far in that one direction, you can actually get a combo from that, which I think is insane that they're giving this man even more combo rep than what he just got from just the back attack alone. Like, they didn't have to do that. Because old Hasensho actually didn't knock down, and people were using it as a means to kill enemies very quickly without knocking them down, but that was a bit much. So instead of completely nerfing the move, they just gave it new properties, and now people have a new way to use it. I honestly prefer this version compared to the old one. The next change is his default air down special, which is basically Suretsu Ken, but it's now the slamming kick that he does that is now also OTGs too. This kick got much better. So it has a much larger hitbox, and it has a higher hitbox, and it launches the enemy higher, which means you get a free combo off of OTG in the air. So it's really, really good. The final change that I know they didn't mention, but I'm going to mention it here for those who are very unaware, so you don't get caught lacking. Spirit Kick has been changed. So, old Spirit Kick, basically was broken because of this one reason.
You talking about the infinite in the air?
The infinite in the air, but the way that the infinite in the air was done was Spirit Kick, for some reason, allowed people to immediately do the air chain with his aerial like combo in the air after he does a jump kick over and over and over again. So what they did to fix this is they didn't nerf Spirit Kick's like properties, like when it came to the launch or when it came to any damage. What they did was subtle, and they didn't even mention it. They made it where if you try to go for this infinite with the Spirit Kick, it seems like you can't really get it anymore because like they fixed it where you can't like I'm trying to do it right now as I speak, which is why I'm like taking a minute to like think about it, but it seems like it's much harder to do. I don't know if it's still there just because of the fact that like it seems like they messed with the recovery of you trying to do a jump attack when you come out of the Spirit Kick. So I don't know if it's still there. I don't think it is still there because every time I try to do it, I actually get put to the ground because it's not letting me do my loop.
It is the final patch, guys. Final patch for now. That's supposedly. They might just do some like bug fixes up, but that's about it. All right, go ahead. What are you saying?
Yeah, no. I would agree with that. I do think this is the final patch for now. But like I was saying with the Spirit Kick, that infinite is gone, people. Don't try to do it anymore. But to be honest, you don't need that one. That one was too easy. And you got a new one to replace it anyway that not only does more damage, but is not confined to the wall. So I'll take it. That's free. So overall, when it comes to the DLC characters, the biggest winner is definitely Estelle by a landslide, followed by Shiva. Because Estelle, the way she just moves around now, it's just too good. And you're gonna probably be seeing a lot more people pick her up and start playing her because of how good she is. But don't sleep on Shiva. don't do that. Because the talented Shiva players out there will humble you real quick and let you see just how broken this guy is. So you know what it is. I think that's it for the Streets of Rage forecast, because we're gonna have to do the retro characters another time. Otherwise, we're gonna be here forever.
Nah, yeah, these things, yo, we wasted 3 hours talking about. I didn't think it was gonna take this long, but there's 300 notes, patch notes, so, and then, you know, the stuff to talk about each character.
Yeah, and what they were before and then how they are now. So
you know what I find it odd? How this guy Shiva can't do a wall jump, but Max can?
I don't know. I always like question that. It's weird. But yeah, that pretty much wraps up things for character in-depth patch notes for the Streets of Rage 4 cast.
Yeah. Yo, is this how you do the infinite right here? You watching my screen?
Hold on. Let me see. Because I didn't have to stream it because I didn't want it to echo.
Oh, we didn't do a tier list right now. We don't even know right now. It's gonna take a bit.
I would hold off on a tier list. If you want my personal opinion, I think the top 5 characters right now in the game are the following. I
think Shiva's still the best, man.
It's still gonna be probably Shiva at the top, just because his infinite is so easily accessible. Followed by Estelle, because she's just such a good all-rounded character, and she has an infinite of her own that's actually accessible too. Then after that, it's probably gonna be Adam, then Cherry. Although those two you could probably mismatch depending on player skill, so I'll leave that one there. And then for the 5th character, I think Axel really has moved up a bunch. I think he's really, really good now.
Oh,
okay. Alright, let me see this infinite. Yeah, that's the infinite. You just gotta do that faster.
I see what you're saying.
Yep. So once you hit the kick, dash, yep, and just keep dashing. Yep. You can actually do it quicker than you think.
I know, I'm noticing, you know, literally because you could like buffer it.
Yep. And what's really nice is there's another infinite I could try to teach you real quick that utilizes that back attack. But you need to be close to the wall to do it. That one that I'm going to teach you is a lot easier. So what you do is you just get the guy to the wall, and once you get him to the wall, you can actually jump cancel off of that back attack and face towards the wall again. So when you do your jump kick, you can do your jump kick combo into the wall and then do Air Suretsu Ken towards the wall while have Shiva facing the wall but still doing all those hits.
Oh.
And then you can do the back attack extension and then repeat the loop again.
Damn, you gotta show me that. I'm better with visuals.
Yeah, I would have to show you that in game for sure, because that's a tough one to do, but that's the one I'm talking about that works on all characters.
Oh, this shit is easy. All right, this infinite is not that hard. This one.
Yeah, it's not that hard to do. Once you get it down, you can basically just throw it out. Like you got a boss character that's got no ads around it that can save them. You just throw that out, and that's it. That's wraps. So that's easy claps. Actually, you saw me do it during the speedrun battle that we.
I didn't watch the speedrun battle.
Oh, you didn't see it yet?
I don't watch all of it. I seen you do the other one against the boss, not this one.
Yeah.
The one that you was talking to me about.
Mm-hmm.
That one. I saw you do that one against the boss.
Yeah. Because Face had asked me to be on this team, and I was like, sure, I'll do a speedrun with you.
Hey, he did that on purpose. He knew he wanted that dump.
I know. I was half contemplating whether or not if I should even get involved, because I knew if I got on any team, it would probably be a little unfair, especially since they agreed to not ban Shiva, and I'm like, y'all is wild for that one.
You think Shiva should be banned?
I honestly, he's borderline there. Because I honestly thought they were just going to nerf him and bring him down to the other characters while bringing the other characters up. I didn't think they were gonna give him this back attack extension. I didn't think they were gonna make his damage better, and I didn't think that they were gonna make his hitboxes better with more depth.
Yeah.
They said, here's one nerf. Now how about all these buffs? And I said, thank you very much. So for those who think Shiva is nerfed, do not be fooled. That man is still very lethal. You just gotta have execution on point. And I think that's what's gonna separate the good Shiva players from the bad, which is how it should have always been to begin with anyway. None of that flying.
Shiva should have always been a
nonsense.
He should have always been that kind of character.
Yeah. That's what I saw when I saw him for the first time him being playable when they released the trailer like 2 years ago. I'm like, oh, this character's about to be execution heavy. Like, look at all those combos. I'm ready for it. I love that. And then we got flying kick spam. I was like, okay. So I'm fine with that. Other than that, that's pretty much like my, I don't know, I guess my final statement for that. Go play the patch, people. It's really, really good. I think the Mania Plus changes are amazing, by the way. It's really fun.
Yeah, they added.
Go try that out.
They kind of added DLC without adding DLC, like with the
real.
You know what I'm saying?
I kept predicting that so many times because with how much they were delaying, I'm like, yeah, we're getting the big. We're getting a DLC. The only thing that people were bummed out about is that they didn't get Skate 4, but it's like, I don't know how to feel about it. Would it have been really cool to see Skate 4? Of course. You know I'm always for more new characters. Am I sad that he's not here? Kinda. I'm not. I don't know. I'm not sure what you want to do now.
Anyway,
that pretty much sums it
yeah,
all
that's
up.
about it. So yeah, people, we're gonna continue this sometime this week. More than likely tomorrow, we're gonna do the retro characters. At least 2 sets of retro. We're gonna do retro characters. This might be a part 2 or 3.
Retro characters in here.
Son, there's a lot, bro.
Yeah, because what we just went through. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We just went through 8 characters, and that took us quite a bit. And there's, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 retro characters. So that is going to be a much longer video. We honestly might have to actually separate it based on path, maybe. Like if we just do like Streets of Rage 1, then maybe the Streets of Rage 2 characters.
That's what I might do, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Because I think it might be easier if we just do Streets of Rage 1 and 2 together. That's only 7 characters. And then we do another one that just talks about the Streets of Rage 3 cast. I think that's the plan. By the way, people, them retro characters, those buffs are nutty. I did a Blaze Streets of Rage 1 playthrough of Mania Plus earlier today, and I didn't have to like do any continues or anything. I actually ended up with 9 lives at the like it feels really good.
Yeah, I used, what is it? Me and my boy, I thought it was gonna be tough playing playing Mania Plus. Me and my boy did a Streets of Rage, a Mania Plus run. I used Streets of Rage 3 skate, and he used Blaze. He used Blaze Streets of Rage 1, and like, yo, I was like, yo, why is she taking so much damage, yo?
Oh yeah, the Streets of Rage 1 characters be hitting now. They got buffed.
And I think they're a little bit faster too, so.
Yeah.
And then Skate 2, he takes a lot of damage with his blitz and all the other stuff. Skate is definitely not terror, not whack. Just can't. Biggest thing they got rid of is that roll, but he didn't 100% need that, man.
Bro, he didn't need the roll, and you know how it is when they get rid of something, they give you so many more better options that you don't need it. You don't.
Nope.
That's why I was like laughing in the chat that I was in earlier when I was watching the other stream. I was just like, bro, why people sleeping on Skate 3 though? Stop sleeping on him. You
At
think
first,
he
I was like,
hurt.
damn, they nerfed him. He's. But then I was like, oh, let me check him out. And then, oh, he's not that bad. I mean, honestly, I don't agree with what they did with the move. They could have kept it what it was and just toned down, like he's not able to juggle people like that. But
Right.
it is what it is, man. The nerf that they put in there is not that bad, so.
And the compensation buffs that they gave you are really nice too anyway. Like that one offense especially you were telling me about, how you can just
Yeah,
adjust
he
it,
wasn't
like,
he
that's
wasn't
sick.
able to do that before. No way.
Yeah.
No way. He wasn't able to just. Yeah, he was committing whenever he did it.
Yeah, that's sick that he can do all that. What in the world?
But anyway, people, I'm gonna get out of here. It's already 11. We've been on this for a minute.
Yep.
So yeah, we're gonna come back tomorrow, do part 2 of we're probably gonna do all of them, but chop them up. We're gonna try to finish all of them by another day or two, hopefully. Chop them up and then give it
Yeah.
to the masses, you know, so people can see and they understand how some of these characters are still good, you know, open their eyes and their brains. But yeah. Once again, thank you guys for tuning in. Also, special shout out to my boy Eternal for coming through. But yeah, that's about it, people. I'm gonna chop up this video, and yeah, you're gonna see this. I'm hopefully I can put this up tomorrow, but this is a lengthy video, so I gotta chop this up as much as I can. Yeah. Let's see how I can work
there
this
was a
out.
lot of downtime we were setting up, so you could probably
Yeah.
turn that down.
So yeah, everybody, thank you guys for tuning in. I'm out of here, people. Peace.
Peace.
Who we gonna raid? Who am I gonna raid? All of them. Who's going right now? Yeah, man. I thought we was gonna get off at a good time and then do a little quick run, but I was like, God damn, it's 11, man. The old me would have stayed up, but I gotta get some daggone sleep, man.
Yeah, no, I feel you. But
Yeah,
I mean, I'm always down the run. You know where to find the conversation.
Yeah, I got work. I got twerk tomorrow, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. How's your fam? They good over there?
Yeah, they're all right. What's it called? I know we had a little bit of a scare because of like the whole thing that was happening with my mom, but she's okay now. Everything is fine. Thanks for asking, though.
Nah, mom's is important, man.
Oh, of course.
Where you reside anyway? You in the city?
Yeah, Connecticut, United States.
Oh, gotcha.
Yep.
Yo, Rick, who you want me to rate?
Eastern.
Who you want me to rate, Rick? All right, keep talking. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, it was just like I'm on that Eastern time right now.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, and he's got somebody to raid. There you go.
Yeah. At first, I was gonna raid Den, but I'm gonna raid one of my boys, boys. So I'm gonna raid him.
Okay.
Yeah. Next time if Den is on, then I'll raid him. But let's see something. I'm about to put raid in his chat. Hold on, I almost messed up. I was about to go in his chat and raid and press it and put raid. Yeah, man. Hopefully, the next set of beat 'em ups that they make, I think beat 'em ups have plateaued a little bit. Like, I think the next Streets of Rage they gotta add a little bit more to it. Like, maybe a parrying system. Boss need to be more interactive. Like, I don't want just bosses that just kick, punch, and that's about it. Nah, I want bosses that block, do all sorts of crazy stuff, man.
Yeah, because that's what some of the older games had. Like, when you fought, like, I remember fighting Shiva for the first time in the second game, and he just beat me, dude.
Yeah, man.
Because he was blocking. He had an entire fleshed out moveset. Like, he could have been a playable character.
Yeah.
Like, he was cooking.
So I think if they just add a little bit more to the boss's movesets, and even the enemies as well, I think it'll be I think the reason why they stuck to formula in this game because since they've been on a hiatus for like over 25 years, they didn't want to change it up too much and kind of alienate the hardcore fans of Streets of Rage, you know. So they was like, all right, let's take baby steps and and still keep the root of the game intact, but add our twist to it. I think that's what they was doing, and they did a good job with it. But now I think moving forward, and since they got the trust of the community, they can
They can experiment.
They can experiment a lot more with it. That's my opinion.
I'm down with that because I always wanted to have like more blocking and stuff like that.
Yeah, man. That way people you just don't be spamming people, just juggling the crap out of bosses. Shoot, bosses should be able to juggle. Bosses should be able to juggle us too, man. Straight up.
Yeah.
Like one game that's a sleeper hit is what is it called? I think it's called Fight and Rage. That's what it was. Yeah, that game is dope. You played it? You played that yet?
I haven't played it, but I have seen it and I have heard of it. Yeah.
You should play it, bro. Like the fighting mechanics is pretty ridiculous, man. For the kind of game it is, it's a sleeper. It's definitely a sleeper. It's definitely a sleeper, man. They got parrying. They got a whole bunch of stuff you can do to enemies. Like some ways it has a little bit more depth as far as fighting than Streets of Rage, which is insane. Yeah, check it out, man. And they have these little combo trials too, where like Street Fighter.
Ooh.
Where they have
we love combo trials.
They have those.
Love those.
Yeah, they have those. So I'm telling you, like,
I'm surprised Streets of Rage 4 didn't do that.
I know that's weird, man. I'm telling you, I don't know. I guess they picked their own route, but
Whatever. More content for me when I start making combos.
Yeah. But yeah, hold on a second. But let me end these things. But yeah, people, later, peace. Get this out of here. Boom.
Hey.